The end of the year was approaching and Yangzhou City was bustling with activity. Numerous disciples would return home from their various sects and visit their family members. At the end of the year, all the cities and villages of the country had a grand annual meeting. In the world of cultivators, these annual meetings were about showcasing talent and gaining recognition within their family. In Yangzhou City, larger clans would all have an internal annual meeting with only members of their clan. During the annual meeting, the older generations within the clan would check the progress of disciples of the younger generations. Once in a while, in the entire city of Yangzhou, some powerful clans would also organize meetings between themselves and other clans, during which they would check which clan had the greatest future potential and the strongest fighting force. At the Whistle Wind restaurant, there was a group of young disciples. They were all people from the great clans of Yangzhou City. Many outstanding disciples had gathered there to drink wine and discuss about the upcoming annual meetings. I heard that Lin Qian's spirit was close to awakening after she had broken through to the Ling Qi layer, and because of this she was selected as a Haoyu sect elite disciple. Lin Yu, do you think all of this is really true? Asked a young disciple who was holding a feather fan. Everybody was looking at Lin Yu with questioning gazes. All of this is obviously true. When she reached the Ling Qi layer, Lin Qian saw her strength increase drastically. For our ceremony, I think that the Lin clan will be able to showcase extraordinary talents. Lin Yu had a smile on his face. His father was Lin Feng's uncle and also aiming for the seat as head of the clan, so Lin Yu's status within the family was obviously adequate enough to declare his opinions on behalf of the Lin clan. Ha ha ha. She just broke through to the Ling Qi layer, that's not an achievement. In my family, Gu Yan already broke through that layer over 6 months ago. The Lin clan's members obviously do not engage in enough battles, they clearly prefer to cultivate within the safety of their section, said the young man wearing a yellow jacket who was sitting in front of Lin Yu. In Yangzhou City, the Gu clan and the Lin clan were always hostile with each other. How could he acknowledge anyone within the Lin clan? The time at which one broke through to the Ling Qi layer is insignificant. In my family, Wen Jiang has already reached the second Ling Qi layer. Except for the daughter of the city master, Na La Feng, who can compete with such strength. The One clan also didn't give the impression that this generation of disciples would be weak. The young man holding the feather fan didn't forget to offer his opinion. His clan had very strong ties within the city government. He couldn't help but have a teasing smile on his face when Jiang already broke through to the second Ling Qi layer. What a gifted cultivator! What an amazing talent! You invited me here to listen to these stupid and pointless discussions, said a voice in the background. It was cold and detached, which caused everyone to stop talking. It was a young girl who was extremely pretty, but she gave off an icy aura. Of course not. I invited everyone to come to tell you some news. This year, on the second day of the annual meeting, apart from my clan and members from the 3 great clans of Yangzhou, other outstanding people can also join. Lan, you should be able to understand what this means. Nalan Hai smiled warmly. Everybody had understood. In the past, the city of Yangzhou also had an annual meeting, but it was limited to the offspring from the 4 strongest clans. They wouldn't have thought that this time they would allow other people to join. It seemed like they wanted to solicit the participation of other young people within the city who might be full of potential. They could use this to recruit young talents early. It is said that Lan is an orphan, but her reputation in Yangzhou City was already well established. It was due to her incredibly beautiful appearance as well as to her cold temperament and, of course, her natural talent. Lan nodded her head. She also felt like finding out what kind of abilities the offspring from the 4 strongest clans were capable of. Hey, now the upcoming ceremony is certainly going to be wonderful. I heard that the piece of trash of the Lin clan has progressed in his training and that he even injured Lin Yun as well. I think that the piece of trash will be coming to join the annual meeting as well, said the young man from the Gu family, with a bright smile on his face. He could feel the excitement welling up inside him. Gusong, what do you mean? My Lin clan has a lot of outstanding disciples coming to join our meeting. Why would we need a piece of trash to join? Replied Lin Yu, who obviously understood to whom they were referring. If he wanted Lin Feng to join the annual meeting, then it was obviously to make fun of the Lin clan. He wanted to ridicule the younger generations of his clan. You're calling a member of your own family a piece of trash. That doesn't seem appropriate, replied Gusong with a smile. A piece of trash is a piece of trash. Why wouldn't it be appropriate? Besides, I, who is also a member of the main family by blood, sooner or later I will definitely. Lin Yu didn't have time to finish his sentence as something had stopped him. He simply groaned and didn't continue to talk. Right at that moment, the piece of trash they were talking about was riding Qianli Shui and was about to enter Yangzhou City. After having been traveling for 10 days, one could barely see travel fatigue on Lin Feng's face. Sitting on Qianli Shui was exhausting, but Lin Feng's facial expression was particularly radiant and didn't reveal the least bit of sluggishness. Compared to the last time that Lin Feng was in Yangzhou City, his appearance was much sturdier and he looked many times stronger than before. His facial expression was hardened, and he looked more like that of a man who knew what he wanted from life. With his sword sheathed neatly on his back, his silver shining belt around his waist and riding triumphantly atop Qianli Shui, Lin Feng drew the attention of many people. In view of his attire as well as his gentle yet vigorous appearance, he was probably a disciple belonging to one of the powerful clans within the city, who practiced cultivation within a large sect but had come back to participate in the annual meeting. Keep going, said Lin Feng. Qianli Shui had slowed down and stopped galloping when it reached Yangzhou City. Lin Feng passed by a restaurant and a voice came from the top of the building. Even though the sound of the voice had been slight, Lin Feng's sense of hearing was extremely sharp. Lin Feng raised his head and just saw someone looking at him. Who is it down there? Could that be the young master of the Lin clan? It's really a coincidence for you to appear at such a time. The young man was looking down at Lin Feng mockingly. A short instant later, many faces appeared at the window of the top floor. Amongst them, there was a gloomy face which seemed familiar. Lin Yu, thought Lin Feng. Lin Yu was his cousin and held a high status within the Lin clan, but he had only reached the 8th Qi layer. He wasn't talented compared to others within the clan, so he used the fact that his bloodline was tied to the main family to elevate his status amongst others. Humph, Lin Yu had no respect for Lin Feng at all. He frowned in anger. He hadn't expected to run into Lin Feng there. The others would use Lin Feng to ridicule his Lin family even further. Lin Feng, we are a few disciples gathering here before the annual meeting. Since we have crossed paths, please come upstairs and sit with us. As expected, Gu Song immediately invited Lin Feng to join them, obviously not with the best of intentions. Lin Feng, you traveled over such a long distance, go home first and have a rest, said Lin Yu, who was clearly not willing to see Lin Feng come and join them. Lin Feng was smiling sarcastically in his heart. His status was still young master within the Lin clan. Lin Feng saw that Lin Yu had not shown even a small amount of politeness to him. Not only did Lin Yu not show him the least bit of politeness, but on the contrary had spoke to him in a disrespectful way. Anything that Lin Feng did, Lin Yu contracted it. Whatever I do, I see it on your face that you're not satisfied, Lin Feng thought. He then looked at Gu Song and said, all right, I will come upstairs. Wait. Lin Yu's voice became colder and he then added, Lin Feng, you shouldn't come to this place. Honestly, you should just run along home. How dare you, shouted Lin Feng, looking straight into Lin Yu's eyes, and then added in an ice-cold tone. What status do you think that you hold within the clan, which gives you the nerve to dare talk to me like this? Lin Feng wasn't the coward and the weakling he was before. His father held an extremely high status within the clan. He was the head of the Lin clan. Lin Yu had therefore no right to put himself higher in the hierarchy of the family than Lin Feng. If Lin Feng wasn't a strong cultivator, other people would still think they could bully him when his father was not present. When Lin Yu heard Lin Feng talk to him like that, he boiled with anger. He obviously hadn't expected that Lin Feng would have changed so much. This response was completely unreasonable for such a weakling. Lin Yu's face had turned red with anger. He had no idea how to reply to Lin Feng. Lin Feng's status within the clan was higher than his own. He was the young head of family. Even though Lin Yu was his cousin, he still didn't have the right to act arrogantly towards Lin Feng, even if Lin Feng had openly embarrassed him. That's the attitude that Lin Feng has as the young family head of the Lin clan, said Gu Song, hoping to see them quarrel, making Lin Yu even more furious. At that moment, Lin Feng had already come down from his horse and handed the reins to the owner of the restaurant. Immediately after that, he went up to the 3rd floor and headed to the private room the other disciples were in. 8 people were sitting at the table, All of them were young disciples from powerful clans. When they saw Lin Feng enter, nobody said a word. Everyone had their respective seat, and they sat there quietly sipping on their wine. They all ignored Lin Feng. Even Gu Song, who had invited Lin Feng to come up a moment ago, remained silent and was grinning. Humph, the piece of trash is making a fool of himself. Even as the young master of the Gu clan. What status do you even have to make fun of my clan? Said Lin Yu, who didn't even look at Lin Feng as if he was talking to himself. The son of the family head, this is my status. You may have forgotten, Lin Yu, but that piece of trash is the son of the head of the Lin clan. Reminded Gu Song. He enjoyed assisting to that kind of situation the most, seeing the Lin clan lose face. Lin Feng smiled. Everybody was looking at Gu Song. Lin Feng made a few steps forwards to Gu Song. May I sit? What makes you think that you can sit here? Said Wen Shan impolitely. In Yangzhou City there were 4 powerful clans. The family which belonged to the master of the city was the strongest one. There was ongoing hostility between the other 3 great clans. There was an especially large amount of tension between the Gu clan and the Lin clan. The Gu clan wouldn't miss an opportunity to attack the Lin clan. The One clan obviously also wouldn't miss an opportunity to do so. Oh, what exactly do you mean? Lin Feng didn't look at Wen Shan and only asked Gu Song. You don't understand? You piece of trash. Nothing gives you the right to sit with us. Said Gu Song to Lin Feng in a disdainful way. Lin Feng really had no idea how low his status was compared to these disciples. I understand you're making fun of me, right? Lin Feng said while not losing his temper. He was as calm as before. Whatever, get lost. Gu Song shouted angrily. He had expected Lin Feng would cower and retreat, allowing him to humiliate the Lin clan. Special thanks to Gary R for this sponsored chapter. I hope you all enjoy. More to come later today. Special thanks to Gary R for this sponsored chapter. I hope you all enjoy. More to come later today. Tonight will be a good night for PMG fans. XOX Lin Feng had a cold smile on his face. He reached towards the table, grabbed a cup of wine, inclined the cup and slowly poured it over Gu Song's head. Everybody stopped talking, looked stupefied. They obviously would have never thought that Lin Feng would dare to retaliate to such humiliation, and they especially never thought he would actually pour wine over Gu Song's head. The entire crowd was shocked and continued watching the scene with interest, especially Lin Yu, who had a resplendent smile on his face. Not only was he able to see Gu Song lose face, but he was also going to be able to see that piece of trash get crushed by Gu Song. That wonderful scene was taking place right before his eyes. How could he not be happy? Gu Song clearly hadn't expected such a thing from Lin Feng either. He had his eyes closed because some alcohol had gone into his eye, which caused a small stinging pain. He then wiped the wine from his face using his bare hand. He then opened his eyes, which began to narrow with anger. His eyes had become so narrow that he looked like a deadly viper. That piece of trash has run out of luck today. He will not die, but I will make him wish he was dead. Everybody saw Gu Song's ice-cold expression. It seemed like there would be more hostility between the Lin clan and the Gu clan in the future. You dared to pour wine over my head? Said Gu Song, whose eyes were slightly red. The tone of his voice was low. He had said it calmly, but that had made it even more frightening. Gu Song was furious. Did you not see it was me because your eyes were closed? Quick, someone fetch me another cup of wine, said Lin Feng while gesturing for more wine. I honestly don't understand. Where does a piece of trash like you find the courage to do such a thing? Have you even considered the consequences of what you did? Or have you maybe stupidly thought that Lin Yu would stand up to protect you? Said Gu Song in a tone which was trying to ridicule both Lin Feng and Lin Yu. Lin Feng didn't reply right away. Instead, he grabbed a bottle of wine which was still on the table, opened it and then lifted it above Gu Song's head. Gu Song stood there shocked as the wine continued to pour over him, not only soaking his face but soaking his whole body with wine. I also don't understand why you use the term piece of trash that much. Are you trying to scare me? Or is it to cover up that terrible feeling which you have deep inside because you are so insignificant? Are you hesitating now? Does the bastard of the Gu clan have no courage? It makes us wonder whether that is inherited from his common blood or from that of the Gu clan. Gu Song was the son of the head of the Gu clan and one of the maids. He was undoubtedly a young master but of a lesser rank in the hierarchy of the clan. That was Gu Song's deepest regret. The simple mention of this had given him the sensation of a knot in his heart. He also utterly detested other people mentioning it to his face. Lin Feng's words had clearly touched on a very sensitive subject. You want to die. As expected, Gu Song's expression changed and he looked even more evil. He was boiling over with fury and his killing intent could not be hidden. Gu Song without hesitation thrust out his fist in an attempt to strike Lin Feng. His fist whistled through the air at an incredible speed. Everyone who was sitting at the table was trembling with fear at the speed and power of such a punch. Gu Song was truly enraged. That punch was aimed at smashing Lin Feng's head with enough power to rip it from his neck. He had attacked with the intention to behead Lin Feng with his bare hands. Lin Yu, unlike the others, could not help but smile even more. The smile on his face was remarkably large. He had really hoped from the bottom of his heart that Lin Feng would die a painful death from Gu Song's strike. But things didn't happen the way that he had wished. Gu Song's punch stopped halfway between him and Lin Feng. Of course it wasn't Gu Song showing mercy. It was because the palm of a hand had stopped his punch completely. This hand had stopped the punch completely and in one motion closed, grabbing hold of Gu Song's fist. It seemed the palm of that hand had easily stopped Gu Song's punch. There were no signs of damage and it actually looked rather effortless. Gu Song's face turned red and he was unable to move his fist away from the palm. It was Lin Feng who had reached out and stopped the punch as naturally as breathing. There were no signs of struggle on his face and he was still very relaxed and calm. Everybody was in a state of shock. How was such a thing even possible? How could Lin Feng block such a powerful attack so easily? Besides, Lin Feng's facial expression hadn't changed at all while Gu Song was clearly struggling to remove his fist from the grasp of Lin Feng. Actually, I don't understand either. You are just another worthless bastard from the Gu clan and you think you have the right to tease me. You call me a piece of trash. What status do you hold? Crunch! Gu Song gave a horrible shriek. A sharp pain invaded his fist. The pain made his face look hideously distorted. Lin Feng had crushed the fist with his hand strength alone. Get lost. I have decided to let you leave with your life, said Lin Feng while waving his hand which was holding Gu Song's fist. Right after, Gu Song was thrown out of the window on the top floor. Everybody heard the sound of Gu Song's body landing heavily onto the ground outside followed by painful moans. Everybody at the table was completely stunned. Gu Song was at the 8th Chi layer and he had, in the blink of an eye, been injured and then thrown out of the window by that piece of trash. What had just happened? Phew! Everyone let out a deep sigh. Is this really the piece of trash of the Lin clan? Lin Feng had a quick glance at everyone. Immediately after, he looked at Lin Yu. Seeing that Lin Feng was calmly looking at him, Lin Yu could not help but be completely terrified. That's right. Lin Yu had just called Lin Feng a piece of trash. And yet standing before him was a terrifying monster which was hard for him to recognize as Lin Feng. It seemed like Lin Feng had gone through a complete transformation. He had turned into a ferocious beast which was hiding in human form. Lin Feng used to be completely different. Lin Feng was known for being timid and weak. But at that moment, Lin Feng looked like a powerful and unmoving beast. His temperament was wild and powerful. Was this really the piece of trash he knew? What was the name which you just called me? Lin Feng asked Lin Yu. Lin Yu's lips slightly moved but there was no sound which could escape his throat. He actually didn't know what to answer. He was so terrified of the person stood in front of him. A piece of trash? Lin Feng said smiling coldly. Right after, Lin Yu sensed a cold wind and a sharp sound echoed through the air. Suddenly his face felt like it was burning from the pressure given by the wind. It was extremely painful. Lin Feng had given him a slap across the face. Lin Yu covered his face. His facial muscles were all on fire. Lin Feng had surprisingly given him a slap in the face while in the presence of everyone else, but when Lin Yu saw that Lin Feng was still staring at him as calmly as before, he swallowed down the things he wanted to say and did not make another sound. Next time you want to say something, watch your words. Remember what status you hold and what status I hold. Lin Feng said in a cold tone. After that, he stopped paying attention to Lin Yu and ignored him. He passed behind Lin Yu and went over to Wen Shan. What do you intend to do? Asked Wen Shan while remaining his vigilance and looking worryingly at Lin Feng. That guy was able to throw Gu Song out of the window. He was not only strong but also daring. Are you scared? Asked Lin Feng in a teasing way. Wen Shan wanted to open his mouth but stopped before saying anything. Suddenly, an ice-cold killing intent emerged from Lin Feng's body which made Wen Shan's scalp go numb. He swallowed his fear and looked down at the ground. Just like Lin Yu a moment ago, his face turned red and was unable to find the courage to retaliate. The piece of trash. The ice-cold killing intent which had emerged out of Lin Feng's body had vanished. Lin Feng then turned around and headed back outside. Nobody even dared give him a glance. Wen Shan groaned from his embarrassment. He was holding his glass of wine so firmly that it shattered in his hand. Even though Lin Feng hadn't touched him, the way Lin Feng had forced him to cower had made him feel incredibly ashamed and humiliated at himself. He had thought Lin Feng had no right to sit with them, but during the confrontation with Lin Feng, he hadn't dared move a single finger to the extent that Lin Feng hadn't even needed to touch him once. His cup of wine along with his self-respect were both now shattered into pieces. At that moment, Lin Yu's state of mind wasn't any better than that of Wen Shan. He even could still feel Lin Feng's hand mark on his face. Why did he feel so low? As Lin Feng was standing in front of him, he had made him lose the courage to even resist a slap to the face. Everyone else sitting at the table remained silent. They all wanted to humiliate that piece of trash of the Lin clan. They hadn't expected he would be able to humiliate them like that. These young cultivators claimed to be the best juniors in Yangzhou City. One had been injured and thrown out of the window by Lin Feng. The other had been slapped in the face, and the other one had been so scared that he had called himself trash. Did Lin Feng really not have the right to sit with them? Qiu Lan's eyes were shining. She was the strongest cultivator of the group. She had already reached the Ling Qi layer. As Lin Feng was still standing there, she could clearly feel that Lin Feng had a certain natural aura which made people feel ashamed of their inferiority. As far as Lin Feng was concerned, he hadn't thought at all that his appearance in the restaurant on that day would have made all these people think so much about him. He just didn't want to get humiliated, insulted and called a piece of trash any longer. That group of disciples from the powerful clans were used to setting themselves above the masses. Lin Feng couldn't bear looking at their ugly and repulsive faces, so he had taught them a lesson in humility. Qian Lishui slowly trotted past the Whistle Wind restaurant. Gu Song was watching Lin Feng's silhouette leaving unhurriedly in the distance. His face clearly revealed that he planned to get his revenge on the trash of the Lin clan by any means necessary. When Qian Lishui entered the territory of the Lin clan, it attracted the attention of a large majority of the Lin clan members. Lin Feng has come back. I wonder what cultivation level he has reached now? He came back, but there's only possibility. He will lose face for his father and himself at the annual meeting. The sons and daughters of the upper members within the clan are all incredibly powerful now. Even though Lin Feng has reached the 7th Qi layer, he is still very weak. Yes, indeed. That piece of trash could defeat Lin Yun, but who was Lin Yun compared to the talented practitioners within the Lin clan? If I were him, I would hide away in his sect and never come out. Many of the clan members were making these remarks quietly in private, as they did not want to offend the head of the clan. The great majority of clan members were secretly sneering at Lin Feng. Even if Lin Feng had the status of young head of clan, he was still a piece of trash. At that moment, Lin Feng had already arrived within the head residential quarters. It was not very big, but it was sturdy and clean. This is where only his father and he were permitted to live. Father, said Lin Feng when he arrived in Lin Hai's room. He saw that his father sitting down and seemed to be painting. Little Feng, you came back, Lin Hai said while raising his head. He put the picture he was painting to the side and warmly smiled at Lin Feng. Yes, the annual meeting will take place in 7 days. I came back to join the meeting with the rest of the disciples sent to other section. Lin Feng briefly looked at the painting his father had put to the side. In his memories from the previous Lin Feng, he knew that Lin Hai liked the sense of tranquility. It seemed related to his passion of painting. He did not like to be disturbed when he was painting. However, Lin Feng had never seen any of Lin Hai's paintings. Little Feng, you shouldn't join the annual meeting. Let them go and agitate each other alone, Lin Hai said while shaking his head. Father, why is that? Hee, this year's annual meeting, they all can't wait to see us lose face. I don't care about them, but you better be careful, little Feng, said Lin Hai while heaving a heavy sigh. The Lin clan had been changing in the recent days, and it was no longer calm and peaceful. His two brothers, a few cousins, and even a few elders had already started establishing a plan in order to make him abdicate his spot as head of the clan. Don't worry, father. I will be fine, said Lin Feng while shaking his head. He had already broken through to the 9th chi layer. Even if some strong people wanted to confront him during the annual meeting to make him lose face, Lin Feng would be able to return the favor. He has no one to fear below the Ling Chi layer. Lin Hai was surprised by his son's reaction and was staring deep into Lin Feng's eyes. He couldn't help but smile when he noticed how self-confident Lin Feng was. If my son wants to go, then he will go. We will go to the annual meeting, and they will see that making me abdicate is no easy task. But little Feng, you really have to be careful during the annual meeting. I heard that Lin Qian has already reached the Ling Chi layer. She will not appreciate that her father lost face during the meeting of elders. It's not a rumor. She has already broken through to the Ling Chi layer. But I do not plan to let her easily try and harm me, said Lin Feng, whose eyes were emanating a cold killing intent. Lin Qian had gone to the Yunhai sect because she wanted to kill him. Before leaving the Yunhai sect, she had also threatened him that if they meet again at the annual meeting, then she would kill him. He was going to see how Lin Qian was planning to act against him during the event. Father, I am going to practice first. Come and collect me on the day of the annual meeting, said Lin Feng while leaving. Even though Lin Feng wasn't weak, Lin Qian had an ice and fire universal spirit which wasn't easy to deal with. It was better for him to gain as much strength as possible in the short time he had. Even a small amount might save his life. At that moment, outside of the residential quarters of the Lin clan, a colt was galloping. There was a hurricane full of flames around its body. Lin Qian was riding on the back of a fire colt. She was wearing a fiery red set of robes which matched her colt and made her look like she was an extremely wealthy noble. Her magnificent posture at that moment would have made anyone unable to utter a single bad word against her. She was like a queen who was looking down at the lowly masses with disdain. Your Grace, the entrance guard said to her respectfully. They all respected her much more than they respected Lin Feng. They didn't even dare look at Lin Qian. Her temperament made them feel unworthy. They knew that she would eventually hold a great position within the clan. Lin Qian did not glance sideways and immediately entered into the residential area of the Lin clan. She looked extremely arrogant, as if she truly believed she was royalty. She was followed closely by two people wearing the robes of the Haoyu sect, and they quickly followed her into Lin clan quarters. Her Grace really doesn't look the same as before. She is much more beautiful than I remember, and she also looks even more elegant. Her Grace, Lin Qian has no equal within the Lin clan, said one of the entrance guards as he watched her walk into the Lin clan quarters. Of course she has broken through to the Ling Chi layer. She extremely strong and beautiful. And Her Grace, Lin Qian, is only 16 years old. She has a bright future opening up to her. She is far better than that piece of trash who calls himself the young master. Her friends also all look extremely strong. They must be the elite of the Yu Hao sect, said the other guard. In their eyes, Lin Feng and Lin Qian had absolutely nothing in common. They were incomparable. One was in the Haoyu sect and had a status that was on the same level as royalty. The other had a lower status than the dirt beneath their shoes. There were no doubts in their mind. Lin Feng had no choice but to look up at her like a lowly peasant for all of his life. Lin Qian and two Haoyu sect disciples arrived to the residential quarters in the blink of an eye. The speed at which they had moved left storm of wind behind them. People were much more agitated than when Lin Feng had arrived. All the clan members began to gather around their future leader like flies. Some clan members and even some elders were already heading towards the garden of the house where Lin Ba Dao lived to give him their respects. A bright future was awaiting Lin Qian, full of opportunities, which wasn't the case of all the members of the Lin clan. That's why many people in the Lin clan were willing to help Lin Ba Dao to climb in the hierarchy of the clan. That way Lin Qian would obtain more power. She would be the glory of the clan. All these people helping Lin Ba Dao would obviously also gain favor from his daughter in the future. With her future prospects, they could only humble themselves in front of Lin Ba Dao. In comparison with the residential quarter where Lin Qian lived, Lin Feng's area of residence looked desolate and abandoned. Nonetheless, Lin Qian hadn't forgotten the promise she had made Lin Feng. She glanced in the direction where Lin Feng lived with killing intent in her eyes. Her gaze was as sharp as a sword. "This time I will make sure to take good care of you," Lin Qian said while glaring at Lin Feng with a ruthless smile. 2 days later, Lin Badao's eldest son Lin Hong also returned to the clan. Lin Hong was studying in a mountain village called Shueying. Shueying Mountain Village was not a sect, but their strength was not the least bit inferior to that of a large sect. It had an extremely good reputation in the Shueyu country. Besides, the Shueying Mountain Village only accepted cultivators who possessed snow and ice spirits. Lin Hong had also greatly improved his cultivation since the last time by leaps and bounds. He had broken through to the 9th Qi layer. One more little step would enable him to break through to the Ling Qi layer. The entire Lin clan was thrilled to have such great talents within the younger generations. It seemed like the entire future of the clan was under the complete domination of Lin Badao. Apart from Lin Hong, a myriad of other members of the younger generations were coming back, belonging to different branches within the clan. The annual meeting was drawing closer and closer. Lin Badao's house had a constant stream of visitor and his courtyard was as visited as a marketplace. It seemed like he had already become the head of the Lin clan, to the extent that there was absolutely nobody around the house of the real head of the clan, Lin Hai. It was extremely desolate around his residence. No one had bothered to come and pay him respect like they had done for Lin Badao. Finally, the annual meeting was about to start. Everybody belonging to the Lin clan was extremely excited. They were wondering what level the juniors of the clan had reached during their practice away from the clan. The disciples would be judged into groups of weak, average and strong. Many were wondering where their sons and daughters would fit within the clan rankings, all secretly hoping that their descendants would be within the strongest rankings, securing them a great future within the clan. They were also wondering if some new geniuses were going to reveal their talents and distinguish themselves within the younger generations. During the event, all the results are announced publicly. The annual meeting was one of the most celebrated and joyous days within any clan, as it showed the future prospects of the clan. A great amount of talent in the younger generation would provide the clan more prestige and glory in the future. 3 months ago, some people had wanted Lin Hai to abdicate, but Lin Hai was so strong that it was frightening and intimidating. But during the annual meeting, they would have more courage than at any other moment of the year. Lin Qian would prove that the future of the clan is with Lin Badao. Some Lin clan members also had friends from other clans who had come to witness the events. Lin Feng came out of his room while stretching his arms. He took a deep breath and took the time to appreciate the sun in the sky. Lin Feng hadn't thought that this day was any different from the previous days before it. The status of the head of the clan. Lin Feng didn't care. What he was looking for was the highest peak on the path of cultivation. Only the strongest could demand the attention of others. The head of the clan was just a fabricated name. If someone was strong and powerful enough, then nobody could oppose him. Who would dare to disobey? Lin Feng still knew that his father also didn't care about such things either. Lin Hai wasn't too attracted by power and influence. Otherwise, he wouldn't be that calm and serene after such events. If the Lin clan didn't organize major events, he would almost never show his face and appear in public. Only by him appearing in public would the others have the ability to criticize him and try to force him to abdicate. "Little Feng, you are already finished practicing," said Lin Hai approaching towards Lin Feng. He had come intending to wake him up from his meditation. "Yes," said Lin Feng while nodding. "Let's go." They left together towards the annual meeting. The number of people within the annual meeting of the Lin clan was huge. Everybody had already arrived much earlier, and they were all excitedly waiting for the upcoming events. When Lin Feng and Lin Hai arrived at the annual meeting, many people stared at them. Every person had a different expression, however the majorities were expressions of mocking or disdain. "It's Lin Feng." Many people were looking at Lin Feng with cold expressions. Some of the faces that could be distinguished from the others were that of Lin Hong, whose cultivation had been crippled by Lin Feng, as well as Lin Yun, Lin Qian, Lin Yu, and of course, there was also Lin Feng's third uncle Lin Haoran. Lin Haoran's 2 sons were Lin Yun, who had been humiliated by Lin Feng, and Lin Hong, whose cultivation had been crippled by Lin Feng. All in all, it was easy to say who hated Lin Feng the most in the Lin clan. Lin Haoran even hid Lin Heng away and made him stay out of sight so he would not lose face. He didn't want anyone to know what had happened between Lin Heng and Lin Feng. Also, he didn't want to see Lin Feng's father proud that the plan to cripple Lin Feng has backfired and destroyed Lin Haoran's standing within the clan. Lin Hai and Lin Feng were moving towards the host who was standing on the large stage. On a platform to the side with a raised seating area sat Lin Badao, Lin Zhan, Lin Haoran and Lin Qian. They were sitting upright with their heads held high, setting themselves high above the others as if they were the masters of the Lin family. When the clan elder Lin Zhan saw that Lin Hai and Lin Feng were approaching, he stood up and said in a clear loud voice, "You have finally arrived, we are thus ready to start the annual meeting." When Lin Hai heard Lin Zhan, he stopped walking and stared at him. Everybody then stared at Lin Hai stupefied, wondering what was wrong with him. "Lin Hai, what's wrong? What are you doing?" asked Lin Zhan, seeing that Lin Hai had stopped walking. Lin Badao, I would like to ask you who's the current head of the Lin clan?" asked Lin Hai in an icy tone. Lin Badao was stunned, but he pretended to be calm as he replied, "You Lin Hai, of course. Then I have another question for you. Isn't the annual meeting of the Lin clan of paramount importance?" continued Lin Hai, looking straight into Lin Zhan's eyes. "Of course it is. Every year, the annual meeting of our clan is the most important event of the year." "Very good. Then I have another question. Who is charge of managing that major event?" Lin Zhan's face started to look desperate when hearing all of Lin Hai's questions. He obviously knew what Lin Hai meant with all those questions. "The clan head is in charge. Since I have a clear understanding now that everything is handled by the clan head, Lin Zhan, I would like to ask you, what on earth do you think you are doing up there? I am still the head of our Lin clan, correct?" Lin Hai's tone was extremely harsh. Lin Zhan and Lin Badao had been acting hand in hand with each other to try and force Lin Hai to abdicate. It was not a secret and had been going on for such a long time that almost everybody knew about it. Lin Zhan was becoming more and more impertinent. Today he even announced the beginning of the event without waiting for Lin Hai to be seated. "Hee uncle, you came a bit too late. The esteemed elder is just doing what he's supposed to do. Is it wrong for him to carry out his duties? Uncle shows no understanding," Lin Qian said in a neutral tone. "Shut up," shouted Lin Hai, who had released his temper. "You dare to interrupt the head of the family while he's talking. Lin Badao, take good care of your daughter. What kind of terrible education has she received until now?" Lin Qian had an ugly face which was twisted in anger. She insulted Lin Hai deep in her heart. That guy hasn't been the clan head for a long time, and he is already starting to lose his temper? She's at least much stronger than your son. That piece of trash is the one who should be educated, Lin Badao said while staring Lin Feng in the eyes and smiling coldly. Everyone in the Lin clan had complimented Lin Qian for her achievements. How could Lin Hai dare to insult her? Watch your words. A very small clan head of the Lin family, in the eyes of my sect, is a tiny individual with no power, said a girl of the Hao Yu sect who was standing next to Lin Qian while smiling coldly. That girl was wearing magnificent robes. She had a very unkind look on her face, much like Lin Qian. She was an elite disciple of the Hao Yu sect. She had a low opinion of the Lin clan and did not believe it was worth giving them face. You're saying that your Yu Hao sect is really extraordinary? Then why are you sitting equally with Lin clan members? It seems that my father, the only head of the Lin clan, never actually invited you to join us. You seem to be a really shameless person. I see that the Yu Hao sect is extraordinarily shameless, said Lin Feng, who had remained silent until now. He couldn't bear it anymore, so he decided to open his mouth. Who could compete with him when it came to wits? He had the experience of 2 lifetimes. In that world, language had a profound meaning. The facial expression of the mean girl suddenly changed, but she immediately smiled coldly after and said, "The piece of trash of the Yun Hai sect also dares to open his big mouth. Whether or not I am a piece of trash is not the problem at the moment. I, at least, have honor and a sense of integrity, not like a certain person coming to someone's clan and insulting the head of their clan. Are all the Hao Yu sect's disciples like this? How extraordinary indeed." Lin Feng was being incredibly sarcastic. Everybody's face immediately changed. "You animal, you dare insult and humiliate the Hao Yu sect," said a Lin clan elder who had stood up. He was furious. This is truly hilarious. She is in the middle of the Lin clan and stands before you all and insults the head of the Lin clan, and there's immediately someone standing up to defend her. I would like to ask you, 7th Elder, are you a member of the Lin clan or a whipdog of the Hao Yu sect? Lin Feng's words were sharp and incisive like a sword cutting deep into the elder's pride. Lin Feng had been firm when saying these words and questioned the integrity of the elder. My son is correct. I also want to ask you a question, 7th Elder. Is your family name also Lin? Asked Lin Hai, continuing Lin Feng's argumentation. Lin Hai was extremely surprised at that moment too. Not only had his son made huge progress on the path of cultivation, but his way of speaking had also become extremely eloquent. Lin Feng's words had become as flowing as blood. Alright, I made a mistake, you are indeed the head of the clan. The annual meeting is of paramount importance. It cannot be delayed. So please come up and manage it as the head of Lin clan, said Lin Jun, who had received Lin Ba Dao's approbation. They had found a compromise. Actually, they wanted to see how long Lin Hai and Lin Feng could be that aggressive. Lin Hai wiped his sleeves, then walked over to the platform and then sat amongst them. How long are you still going to be so proud? You dare to insult the elite disciples of my sect. Lin Hai, I want you to pay attention to the fate of that piece of trash you call a son. Lin Qian thought to herself. Let the annual meeting begin. Lin Hai looked at the stages which were created for practice battles between clan members. The Lin clan was composed of over 500 people. Around 18 of them were young people of the youngest generation of the clan, but there were about 70 young people who belonged to the golden age of talent within the Lin clan. Unfortunately, there were some clan members who were unpredictable and would try to harm his son. The Lin clan was not a single entity, and there were smaller factions attempting to increase their power. If Lin Hai had abdicated, that would have been a mistake and would have driven the clan into chaos. Lin Hai had bitter feelings. Why did he need to have all these worries about the Lin clan and its future? Father, don't worry. I will not let anyone do me any harm, thought Lin Hai, who was feeling guilty. He remembered what his father had said to him on his deathbed. Unfortunately, he hadn't been able to apply it. The annual meeting was actually a big test for all the juniors of the Lin clan to see how much they had progressed, and to see what the future prospects of the Lin clan looked like. There was also some fighting involved in the annual meeting to test the strength of the junior generation. The 2nd elder of the clan went on the fighting stage and said in a clear and loud voice, the first round of the annual meeting will be as such. It's a free-for-all, everyone comes on the fighting stage and the last 32 members left can continue to the next round. The 2nd elder of the Lin clan stepped down from the stage and the junior disciples of the Lin clan all went on to the fighting stage. Lin Feng nodded while looking at his father, Lin Hai. He also stepped on the stage. I don't know if Lin Qian will be focused on me from the very start, thought Lin Feng, who was standing on the stage with complete concentration on his surroundings. 73 young disciples had arrived on the stage. Everyone was extremely vigilant, especially the weaker ones. They were easy targets for the others to quickly reduce the numbers. Lin Qian was still standing there unmoving on the stage. Many other disciples were giving up and leaving the stage. They didn't dare provoke others who were stronger than themselves. The goal of the first round was to eliminate the weakest ones. The strong ones rarely really attacked at that stage except for if they were looking for trouble. Lin Qian was without a doubt one of the strongest disciples on the stage. Most of the disciples on the stage couldn't compete with her. As far as Lin Feng was concerned, he quickly noticed that many people were staring at him. Many people had twinkling eyes when looking at Lin Feng as if they were looking at a pile of gold with greed in their eyes. They all considered him an easy target. Some battles had already started on the stage. A young clan member who was wielding a spear was rushing towards Lin Feng. Everyone near him started to surround him. Lin Feng obviously knew they were not worth his time. Get lost, get down off the stage. If you stay here then we will force you to lose face, said Lin Wu with an expression revealing how much he despised Lin Feng. He was the son of the 7th elder, with whom Lin Feng had argued and humiliated. Lin Wu was at the 7th Qi layer 6 months ago when they had last met. With his ongoing training, he had probably reached the 8th Qi layer already. His strength was similar to that of Lin Yu. He's mine, said an ice-cold voice, sending shivers down the spines of many clan members. Lin Feng then saw Lin Qian wearing her red robes looking as arrogant as ever. It's all the same to me. Lin Wu was obviously not going to argue with Lin Qian and opened the way for her. Lin Qian walked over to Lin Feng and said, "Don't worry, nobody will touch you during the first round. You will successfully move forward to the next rounds. If you were to be knocked out this early, there would be no fun at all." Huh? Lin Feng said, stupefied. He wouldn't have expected Lin Qian to protect him and prevent him from getting knocked out of the competition so early. That was amusing, but not losing so early. What could he have against that? Of course Lin Feng understood. If Lin Qian hadn't been protecting him, he could have lost during the first round due to the sheer numbers he was facing. However, in the life or death arena of the Yun Hai sect, Lin Feng had defeated a cultivator of the 9th Qi layer in one hit. What is Lin Qian doing? Why is she taking care of that piece of trash and protecting him? Said Lin Jun, who was ready to watch Lin Feng make a fool of himself but instead saw Lin Qian protect him. He couldn't help but ask Lin Ba Dao about the turn of events. Don't you think that seeing such a piece of trash making it to the second round is a really funny joke? Besides, the second round is composed of several small fights. Everyone has to fight a few times. In this kind of situation, do you think that a piece of trash will be able to return unharmed when the time comes for the numerous fights of the second round? We just have to wait for the second round, which is where the real fun will begin. Hee, how could I not think about that? This will be an entertaining event indeed. Lin Jun was delighted by the explanation. He could already imagine Lin Feng getting completely crippled in one hit during the second round. Half an hour later, the first round, which consisted of eliminating the weakest clan members, had finally come to a conclusion. Only 32 clan members were still on the stage. The ones who had been eliminated were mostly at the 5th or 6th Qi layer, and were not very strong compared to the talented disciples within the clan. There were also some clan members who had reached the 7th Qi layer, but who had run out of luck during the fights and been eliminated. Others had been attacked by multiple opponents and were knocked off stage using their numbers. There were also some who had not moved a single finger at all during the first round. Lin Qian, as well as her older brother Lin Hong, Lin Wu, Lin Yu and Lin Feng. That guy is really lucky. Lin Qian surprisingly helped him move forward to the next round. I wonder why Lin Qian helped him get to the second round. Lin Feng was the subject of all sorts of comments. Of course, many of these comments, regarding why he was able to move on to the second round, were inaccurate. He could have easily dealt with all the disciples outside the stage and would only have been eliminated with bad luck. In the contest of the second round, there were 4 groups of 8 fighters. All had to wait for their turn to fight. Every single fighter of a group had to fight the 7 others of his group. The 2 best fighters of one group would be able to move on to the third round. First, the groups had to be formed and then they would be announced by the second elder. Lin Qian was put in the first group. Lin Feng, Lin Yan, Lin Tao, Lin Yu, Lin Ran, Lin Li, Lin Kaiju, Lin Yu, you're all in the fourth group. When he heard the names of the ones that were in the fourth group, the third elder laughed. All the weakest ones are in the fourth group. Considering Lin Yu's strength, there should be absolutely no problem. Lin Yu should dominate all the others in the fourth group by far, said Lin Ba Dao politely. Haha, you bet. If Lin Yu had to battle with Lin Qian, he would take the initiative to give up, said the third elder, who had agreed with Lin Ba Dao's words. Do you know what rank Lin Feng will hold within the fourth group? Whispered the third elder while unconsciously looking at Lin Hai. The gigantic battle stage for the second round was divided into 4 different stages. Dividing the larger stage into 4 smaller stages was a way for all the participants to engage in battles at the same time and progress onto the next round together. First group, Lin Qian versus Lin Han. Second group, Lin Hong versus Lin Lei. Third group, Lin Wu versus Lin Xiao. Fourth group, Lin Feng versus Lin Yan. People in the crowd had longing in their eyes when they heard who was fighting the first fight within the first group. Everyone was only paying attention to that stage. It seemed like the second elder had voluntarily arranged the battle that way. All the first group fighters were quite well known. There was nothing to say about Lin Qian and her brother Lin Hong. Lin Wu was also a famous figure amongst the disciples of the younger generation. Even though Lin Feng was weak, everyone knew who he was in the crowd. That is the reason why Lin Feng was chosen and not Lin Yu. The 8 fighters were in their respective areas of the large stage. The fighters who attracted the most attention from the crowd were Lin Qian and Lin Feng. They were curious to see how strong Lin Qian was. They were also curious to see what chi layer was reached by Lin Feng, the Lin clan's piece of trash. "I give up," said Lin Han of the first group quite straightforwardly, which disappointed a lot of people in the crowd. Nonetheless, many of them were able to understand Lin Han. Honestly, who would have the guts to go up and fight with Lin Qian? First group. Lin Qian wins, announced the second elder. As the first fight of the first group didn't take place, everyone's attention then focused on the battle of the fourth group. Lin Feng versus Lin Yan. "I am unwilling to humiliate myself in my sword fighting against him. I give up," said Lin Yan, who had reached the 7th chi layer and who had a sword spirit. The crowd saw that Lin Yan, who had reached the 7th chi layer, was looking at his opponent in a very arrogant way. Fourth group. Lin Yan wins. The second elder announced the result of the fight of the fourth group. "What?" Lin Feng was stunned. Lin Yan won by saying he gave up. But Lin Yan seemed to think it was as it should be by right and left the arena calm and unperturbed. "Why are you still up there on the stage?" asked the second elder to Lin Feng, who wasn't moving at all. "Have I given up?" asked Lin Feng. The second elder frowned. That guy was really unable to tell good from bad. Eliminating him directly was a way to help him, not to make a fool out of himself. Giving up, not giving up, it's all the same. Hurry up and come down of the battle stage. "Since I haven't given up, what gives you the right to declare Lin Yan as the winner?" asked Lin Feng, ignoring what the second elder had just said. "I am the second elder and I am one of those in charge of leading the annual meeting. It seems like nobody is attaching importance to me, the head of the clan," said Lin Hai calmly. He remained calm while containing his rage. "Second elder, in the presence of every Lin clan member currently present here, you are violating the rules of the annual meeting by immediately declaring Lin Yan's victory. What gives you the right to do so?" "Clan head, that battle doesn't need to take place. We all know the result already. I am helping you not to lose face by acting that way. There is no need to take it to heart." "Helping me not to lose face? You are intentionally trying to make me make a fool out of myself. Now you can come down. The sixth elder is now in charge of leading the battles." "I don't agree," said Lin Badao. "I don't agree either. The second elder's position is justified," said Lin Haoran and Lin Zhun together. "Do you intend to force my hand?" said Lin Hai, glancing at all of them, including others who were not directly blood related to the Lin family. "So what if I want to do it this way?" said Lin Hai, smiling coldly. "Clan head, the second elder hasn't made any mistake. You have no right to deprive him of his right as an organizer of the annual meeting. If you insist on having it your own way, you are just using public office to avenge private wrongs. You are just scaring everyone who is a member of the Lin clan using your status as clan head," said Lin Haoran with a smile on his face. Lin Hai smiled coldly and said in a low voice, "I know what you guys want to do. You are just finding pretexts though, so I am using pretexts as well." The ones to whom Lin Hai was referring pretended to look confused as if they didn't know what Lin Hai meant. They only saw Lin Hai turn around and begin addressing the crowd of Lin clan members. "My son Lin Feng and Lin Yan will fight. Lin Feng hasn't given up. None of them has given up yet. By declaring Lin Yan the winner, I think that it proves that he despises the traditions of the Lin clan. Besides, there are some people here who think that I am abusing my power to retaliate against personal enemies. That is why I am now giving an explanation to every single one of you. If Lin Feng does lose indeed, it will prove that I was wrong, and I will abdicate from my position as a clan head." The crowd burst into an uproar when they heard Lin Hai's words. Lin Feng was only at the 6th chi layer 3 months ago. He was maybe only at the 7th chi layer at that moment. How was he supposed to fight against Lin Yan? Wasn't he giving the others an opportunity by acting so recklessly in regards to his son? Lin Badao's eyes were sparkling with delight. He hadn't expected that Lin Hai would say these things to the crowd. Wasn't it like finding another excuse to take over the position as clan head? But if Lin Feng wins, it will prove that the second elder really despises the traditions of the Lin clan, and I will severely punish him. Lin Hai's tone gradually changed to a much colder tone. Everybody was starting to feel a chill within the air. Lin Hai was gambling with his position as a clan head at stake. I agree, Lin Badao immediately said. He had a calm expression on his face. How was Lin Feng supposed to win against Lin Yan? I also agree, said Lin Zhen. Alright, what about you, second elder? Lin Hai said, looking at him straight in the eyes. The second elder was secretly insulting him in his heart. Even if Lin Feng won, it had nothing to do with the issues going on with Lin Badao and Lin Zhan. These two scoundrels had obviously agreed because they couldn't miss the opportunity to remove Lin Hai. That decision just made the second elder feel like they had not considered his position. He shook his head and replied, I agree. What a shame. Lin Haoran was cursing in a low voice. Lin Feng had been able to cripple the cultivation of his son, Lin Heng. Lin Feng was at least at the 8th Qi layer. Lin Yin would lose without doubts. He wanted to prevent them from doing it that way, but Lin Badao and Lin Zhen had replied too quickly. At this moment he was feeling as bad as the second elder. Lin Yin, get on the battle stage. Go and fight Lin Feng, said the second elder cold and detached while glancing at Lin Hai. Lin Hai was going to have to surrender his position as the clan head. Lin Yin got back on the battle stage. Sneering at Lin Feng, he said, the piece of trash will also lose face. On top of that, you are getting your father involved in the situation. However, I, Lin Yan, will play a role in who will become the new head of clan. Not bad. If you use your sword the same way that you use your words, I would recommend stepping back down. Die, said Lin Yan while unsheathing his sword and throwing himself towards Lin Feng. Shadow sword, get lost, said Lin Feng calmly without raising his voice. He jumped to the side. The chi of Lin Yan's sword immediately vanished. Right after, a fist appeared in the gap left by Lin Yan's sword and shot directly towards his chest, sending him flying through the air and off of the stage. His long sword landed on the stage. Lin Yan was lying on the ground beneath and looked utterly confused by what had happened. He had been defeated. How had he been defeated? Your sword, your speed, your accuracy, your reaction speed. You have absolutely no skill in battle. Your fighting style is full of flaws. You are a humiliation and a disgrace for both the sword you carry and the Lin clan name. You are a piece of trash. Lin Feng kicked Lin Yan's sword and sent it flying towards Lin Yan. Not only was Lin Yan extremely confused, but the whole crowd was also utterly speechless at what had happened. It was the same as 3 months before when Lin Feng had defeated Lin Yun. Lin Feng had only needed one hit. He had looked so relaxed and it had seemed like an extremely easy victory for him. Everybody was looking at Lin Feng. Lin Feng was self-confident and even a bit arrogant at that moment. The piece of trash had completely changed to the extent that he was able to defeat Lin Yan, who was at the 7th Qi layer, in one hit. How is that possible? How could something like this happen? Asked the second elder, whose body was trembling with fear. He could feel an ice-cold glare consuming him from head to toe. The head of the clan, Lin Hai, was slowly walking towards him with eyes filled with killing intent. What do you want? Asked the second elder, whose voice was trembling as he watched Lin Hai approach. The crowd had been astonished by Lin Feng's performance. At that moment the crowd had just noticed that Lin Hai was already on the battle stage and was approaching the second elder. What do I want? You haven't forgotten our deal of a moment ago, right? Lin Hai said, smiling coldly. Brother, please listen, the second elder. No. Lin Yi is a member of our clan after all. He has always worked hard and performed a valuable service for the clan. Please forgive him this time. Lin Badao said loudly as he quickly tried to block Lin Hai's path. Forgive him? Lin Badao, don't you think you're ridiculous? A moment ago, you had all taken advantage of my son, and you were completely indifferent. Did you ever ask yourself how much I, Lin Hai as head of the clan, have done for the benefit of the Lin clan? Are you saying that you intend to go back on your promise in front of everyone and leave that kind of impression on the young members of the clan? Lin Hai's was extremely strict with his rebuke, which made Lin Badao embarrassed to have said anything in the first place. The entire chain of events could speak for itself. He wanted to go back on his words but had no argument as to justify his actions. If he went back on his words now, then he would surely lose face. Now move out of my way. I would like to announce that Lin Yi, second elder, is no longer in charge of his functions. In addition, I'm going to teach him a lesson," said Lin Hai while moving past Lin Badao. "If you think things will go that smoothly, then you underestimate me," said Lin Yi while quickly turning to flee. Whoosh whoosh. Lin Hai flicked both of his sleeves lightly, which caused the atmosphere to violently vibrate and become icy cold. This was followed by a groan from Lin Yi. He was trying to escape, but his body had become completely stiff and he could no longer move an inch. His bones were cold and brittle to the touch. His whole body was covered in a layer of ice and his skin felt like it was burning from the cold. Boom! The ice covering his body shattered, causing a terrifying impact. Lin Ye's entire body was still freezing over, and the ice was penetrating deep into his body. Blood was flowing out from the corner of his mouth, but the warm sensation only lasted a moment before that blood would freeze solid. He collapsed onto the ground, unable to keep himself standing. His body looked like it had shrunk as he curled into a ball and rolled on the ground. He was shaking all over and all he could do was try and keep himself as warm as possible. Only his malicious-looking eyes were still staring at Lin Hai. With each movement, layers of his skin which had frozen solid were breaking apart, causing unbearable pain. Lin Yi wasn't a weak cultivator. He couldn't be defeated that easily by most of the clan members, but he didn't dare fight against Lin Hai. Lin Hai was like an unmovable mountain. He was unable to tell how strong Lin Hai was exactly, but fighting him was courting death. Many people watched the scene like statues, unmoving with mouths wide open in shock. They hadn't expected that Lin Hai would be so powerful and even use his powers in cruel ways. It was clear that Lin Yi had enraged the head of the clan and was being punished for it. It was also a clear warning, by showing just how easily he could deal with an elder of the clan. He was warning those who plotted against him that they would be risking their lives. After all, the second elder was Lin Badao's assistant. Now let's continue with the annual meeting. I assign the sixth elder to take over from where Lin Yi failed. If you cannot follow clan rules or want to refuse, then tell me now," said Lin Hai while rolling up his sleeve, which made him look incredibly imposing. Lin Feng was looking at his father full of admiration. He was smiling from ear to ear. His father was so strong, and in this world only the strong deserved respect. Lin Hai didn't usually give such displays of his strength. This was not because he was not strong enough, but rather he did not enjoy needless displays of strength. Nobody dared to call into question what Lin Hai had done to an elder of the clan. Even though Lin Badao and Lin Zhen were furious, they just had to contain their anger and stay silent. The battles continued. Lin Feng was the strongest of the fourth group. Only Lin Yu was at the 8th chi layer, all the others were at the 7th chi layer. 6 battles later, nobody had been able to take a single blow from the piece of trash, Lin Feng. There was only Lin Yu and Lin Feng left to fight within the fourth group. As far as the other groups were concerned, in the first group, Lin Qian hadn't fought a single battle. All her opponents had given up before even attempting to fight. In the second and the third group, Lin Hong as well as Lin Wu were undefeated. They had won all their battles as expected. There was another disciple who stood out, and his name was Lin Hen. Nobody had expected him to be that strong, as there was not much known about his strength previously. He had won all of his battles, but unfortunately he had to fight Lin Wu next. Many clan members thought it would be a good experience to humble him. Finally, the rankings were already in place and soon the third round would begin. The last battles of the third and fourth group were taking place. However, the top 8 clan members had already been decided. Third group, Lin Wu versus Lin Hen. Fourth group, Lin Feng versus Lin Yu. Announced the 6th elder. Everybody looked very interested again. These 4 cultivators were all undefeated in their previous matches. They wanted to see how long Lin Hen would last against Lin Wu. The majority of the crowd was focused on watching to see if Lin Feng would be able to defeat Lin Yu, who had already reached the 8th chi layer. The crowd erupted in cheers for the upcoming fights. Lin Hen was fighting with Lin Wu, who was one of the best junior cultivators of the Lin clan. This would surely be a great battle to watch. They had been shocked by Lin Feng, but they didn't expect much from him as he was previously only 6th chi layer. He could have only reached the 7th chi layer at most, or maybe had just broken through to the 8th chi layer. How was he supposed to win against Lin Yu, who was already at the peak of the 8th chi layer? Many members of the clan still had trouble removing the previous association of Lin Feng being useless and a piece of trash. So many assumed he would surrender his next fight. The 4 practitioners stepped onto the arena. Lin Hen was pretty straightforward. He cupped his hands before his chest as a sign of respect and said, "We have already qualified for the 3rd round. We do not need to fight unnecessary battles with other clan members, even though we already qualify for the next round. I, Lin Wu, always welcome a fight. I want to show everyone who the strongest of our group is," said Lin Wu while shaking his head in refusal. "I surrender," said Lin Hen while smiling and completely ignoring Lin Wu's wishes to fight. "Lin Wu wins," said the 6th elder with a wry smile. It was his son that had just given up. "Coward," Lin Wu said, insulting Lin Hen, then turned around and left. On stage there was only Lin Feng and Lin Yu left. Hee, finally. Lin Yu will fight that piece of trash. I hope that Lin Yu can teach him a good lesson, said Lin Ba Dao in an ice-cold tone. He had thought that Lin Feng would get crippled during the 2nd round, but he hadn't expected that Lin Feng had actually become so strong in such a short period. He was no longer weak like many had thought. He hadn't lost a single battle so far in the 4th group, and had not even used more than a single strike. Don't worry, Lin Yu is a true member of the Lin clan. He will definitely show that piece of trash what it means to be strong, said the 3rd elder confidently. He was very confident about his son's abilities and skills. It would be difficult for Lin Yu to finish amongst the top 3 at the end of the annual meeting, but he was hopeful that his son would finish amongst the top 5 within the younger generation. Let's watch and enjoy the show, said Lin Ba Dao while nodding. Lin Yu's confident expression had vanished, but he still tried to keep his head calm. He couldn't forget that moment when Lin Feng had slapped him. He hated Lin Feng bitterly for that, but at the same time, he was also terrified of the monster that stood before him. That piece of trash that was also the clan's young master had changed into a mysterious beast. Gu Song wasn't weak but had been injured and thrown out of the window by Lin Feng. Lin Yan could use his sword with great skill, but when he battled with Lin Feng, his sword had looked like a toy in the hands of a child. Lin Yu didn't even have a small amount of self-confidence in beating Lin Feng. He could feel the pressure created by the entire audience staring at him. Lin Yu could not help but gulp with the amazing pressure he was under. He really was stuck between a rock and a hard place. Everybody was waiting for him to teach Lin Feng a lesson, including his own father, but did he even have the power to do such a thing? Since we're already qualified for the next round, do we really need to fight? Asked Lin Yu in a very soft voice. Lin Feng had a fake smile on his face and kept glaring at Lin Yu yet remained silent. Bastard, thought Lin Yu. He then took a deep breath and said, I give up. Huh. The 3rd elder as well as the crowd were all stupefied when they heard Lin Yu. Did he just give up? At the moment when everyone couldn't wait to see Lin Feng be taught a lesson, Lin Yu surprisingly acted the same way as Lin Hen and chose not to battle. What's going on? Lin Ba Dao asked, looking extremely puzzled. Maybe Lin Yu wants to humiliate him during the finals, guessed the 3rd elder without being convinced of his own words. The 2nd round finished. The top clan members were Lin Qian, Lin Hong, Lin Feng, Lin Yu, Lin Wu, Lin Hen, Lin Ying as well as Lin Li. The 3rd round was also the finals. It consisted of one-on-one battles. Lin Ying and Lin Li were staring at Lin Feng with longing eyes. They were praying to fight against Lin Feng. They had no grudge with Lin Feng. They had only wanted to guarantee a spot in the top 4. First battle. Lin Qian versus Lin Ying, said the 6th elder. Lin Ying's face turned white in a second. That was the unluckiest situation he could be in. He was assigned to fight the strongest of all the young clan members. Lin Qian, even though I probably will not be able to touch you even once, I still wish to fight. I hope that you can show me how great the distance between us is. She had no other choice but to fight against Lin Qian. That was going to be her last battle. Everybody was aware that she was definitely going to lose, but she would not surrender her pride. I will, replied Lin Qian, cold and detached to the extent that she even looked somewhat arrogant. Let's begin, shouted Lin Ying, advancing towards Lin Qian. She didn't even release her spirit. She was going to lose in any case, but this was a matter of the Lin clan's pride. She only wanted to see how strong Lin Qian was so she could aim to one day be as strong as her. Ice, shouted Lin Qian. Lin Ying's hand hadn't even touched Lin Qian yet, but her hand was already feeling extremely heavy, as if it weighed 1,000 jin, and the speed had dropped drastically. In an instant, Lin Qian's tiny hand was already on Lin Ying. whose body was already covered with a layer of frost. You lose. Lin Qian shook her hand and Lin Ying immediately collapsed onto the ground. Lin Ying was shaking on the ground from the cold. She looked similar to the second elder a moment ago, but much less pitiful. How strong! So that what a cultivator of the Ling Qi layer is capable of. What a power! Good thing that I don't have to fight against Lin Qian, said the others who felt lucky they didn't have to fight against Lin Qian. First battle. Lin Qian wins. Second battle. Lin Hong versus Lin Yu. Announced the sixth elder. I give up, said Lin Yu making a wry smile. He was obviously not going to fight against Lin Hong. He hadn't thought he would successively give up twice. He was eliminated. Second battle. Lin Hong wins. Third battle. Lin Feng versus Lin Li. Phew, awesome. Lin Li had a big smile on his face. Lin Li was at the peak of the 8th Qi layer. He thought all the others would be quite hard to defeat, but Lin Feng should be an easy win. Second release here for you all. Special thank you goes to Joseph G and Amp. Eddie R. Joseph told me not to tire myself out. He is clearly not supporting your addiction kill. Special thanks to him for supporting the chapters and looking out for me. Hugs and kisses. Second release here for you all. Special thank you goes to Joseph G and Amp. Eddie R. Joseph told me not to tire myself out. He is clearly not supporting your addiction kill. Special thanks to him for supporting the chapters and looking out for me. Hugs and kisses. I hope you enjoy this one. I made sure it was a cliffhanger because I know you all love cliffhangers. Oh? It seems like today is my lucky day, said Lin Li while getting onto the battle stage and facing Lin Feng. Lin Feng was completely expressionless. When he saw Lin Li's resplendent smile, he thought, lucky day? Lin Li was maybe going to think differently a short instant later. Lin Feng did seem to be very lucky to most of the clan members watching the annual meeting. During the first round, Lin Qian had helped him to move into the next round. During the second round, the strongest of the group, Lin Yu, had given up and shown him mercy. It had been so easy for him that he did not even have the chance to show his full strength, and many believed he had recently broken into the 8th Qi layer. And even during the third round he was still extremely lucky. His first fight was against the weakest of all the remaining participants, Lin Li. He would still not have the chance to show his strength. Maybe the sixth elder had arranged things that way, thought Lin Feng. You can attack first, okay? Let's have a good fight, said Lin Li as if he had already won the fight and was selecting his next opponent. All right, said Lin Feng while nodding. Moonlight feather agility, 9 heavy waves, shouted Lin Feng. As Lin Feng arrived right next to Lin Li was still smiling. The shock waves within the air caused a huge pressure to consume the atmosphere. Terrifying wave upon terrifying wave was vibrating through the air around Lin Feng's fist. Lin Li's smile was still on his face, but at the same time he looked terrified. He had planned to withstand the attack, and then win by showing overwhelming strength, but now he was terrified of his opponent. Wasn't it too late to take his words back? Boom! You lose. Lin Li's body flew away. His smile was almost rigid on his face, and that looked really embarrassing. One punch was all it had taken to eliminate him. He no longer believed he was lucky. It seems like nobody has put Lin Feng in their eyes. How strong is he? Thought Lin Li. Only Lin Feng knew how powerful his attacks could become. It seemed like his 9 heavy waves were in perfect fusion with the entire universe surrounding them. They even seemed to borrow the power of the atmosphere as it was consumed by the vibrations. His waves gave the impression of being in the middle of a vast and boundless ocean which nobody could escape. There was no choice but to be swallowed by the powerful waves. The most terrifying thing was that Lin Feng hadn't received a single injury in any of his fights. Lin Feng's effortlessly dodged all incoming attacks and dealt with his opponent with a single blow. There was not even a speck of dust on his robes. He was untouchable. Piece of trash. Is this what we call a true genius? Lin Li didn't have the least bit of hate or resentment in his eyes. He was staring at Lin Feng with respect and even a hint of remaining fear. He knew that Lin Feng had shown him mercy and was terrified by the outcome if he had not received mercy. Lin Feng wins, declared the sixth elder. The crowd deeply sighed. It had to be a trick. Lin Li was at the 8th Qi layer. This must have been something which was previously arranged. He is truly cunning. What chi layer is Lin Feng even at? The entire crowd suddenly had the impression that the piece of trash they were looking at had completely transformed and become something mysterious. He had either become extremely sly and cunning or held the strength of 8th chi layer. No matter which it was, he had gained the curiosity and respect of many clan members. He took him by surprise with a sneak attack. That piece of trash is the same piece of trash as before. He's just a coward, said Lin Wu in an extremely disdainful tone when he heard all the comments of the crowd. That's right. It must be that way. Lin Feng could only win with a sneak attack because Lin Li was unprepared. Otherwise, how could he have thrown Lin Li from the stage that easily? Said some clan members in support of Lin Wu. They thought that they had understood what had happened from Lin Wu's words, and some people had even started insulting Lin Feng. But Lin Feng ignored the comments as this was nothing he had not heard previously. However, now he would make them all pay. All those who had humiliated him would be punished. A piece of trash? Took him by surprise? Everyone will be disappointed. Fourth battle. Lin Wu versus Lin Hen. While looking at them on the battle stage, Lin Feng's eyes showed curiosity. During the last round, Lin Wu and Lin Hen were in the same group, but during the last fight of their group, Lin Hen had refused to fight and surrendered. But this round Lin Hen and Lin Wu were opponents again. Could it be that the 6th elder had done this on purpose? We have already made it this far. We do not need to fight unnecessary battles with other clan members. Do we even need to fight? Said Lin Wu jokingly while looking at Lin Hen. Lin Hen was just a coward scared to fight, nothing more. There is no need, replied Lin Hen while shaking his head and smiling. Such a coward. He is making the Lin clan lose face. Many people started to insult him. Lin Hen had already qualified before when he gave up, so that was excusable, but giving up now was really unforgivable. That was a disgrace to the Lin clan. Coward. If you're not fighting, then get lost. Get down off the battle stage, said Lin Wu, who was really angry to hear him give up again. Lin Hen was looking at Lin Wu and suddenly had a strange expression on his face. He didn't get down off the battle stage. Instead, he moved forwards to Lin Wu. I will just count down from 3 to 1. If you don't get off my stage before the time is up, then do not blame me for being merciless, said Lin Hen. Killing intent could be seen on his face. Suddenly a powerful chaotic energy surrounded his body and crashed down onto Lin Wu. 3. Counted Lin Hen. At that moment Lin Wu's entire body was trembling. He looked like he was frozen with fear. Sweat was beading from his forehead and his face could show his fatigue. He was staring at Lin Hen with eyes filled with shock. How is that even possible? How did you possibly? Lin Wu was going insane. How can you have the strength of a cultivator who has reached the Ling Qi layer? Lin Wu wasn't the only one who was stupefied. Everyone else in the crowd was stupefied. Ling Qi layer. He has just used the power belonging to cultivators of the Ling Qi layer. That quiet and introverted Lin Hen had been hiding his power this whole time. Everyone was shocked at how this young man had hidden such a great power. Ling Qi layer. Apart from Lin Qian amongst the juniors, it seemed like there was only Lin Hen who had broken through to the Ling Qi layer. And it seemed like Lin Qian was the most outstanding of all the young disciples. The 6th elder was beaming with satisfaction. He had a huge smile on his face. Lin Hen had been secretly cultivating and hiding his abilities. As long as he didn't show his abilities, it was very difficult for others to tell that he had reached the Ling Qi layer, which showed how careful he had been to hide his power. He is good at hiding his real power, Lin Badao thought while looking at the 6th elder. But suddenly he realized there was still hope. You better adapt to the circumstances, said Lin Badao looking at the 6th elder with a cold smile. Once the annual meeting was over, he would again attempt to become the head of the clan. Lin Badao couldn't understand why the previous head on his deathbed had passed his power to Lin Hai and not to him. Lin Hai was seldom in the clan when he was young. He would often travel and hide from the clan his destination. Lin Badao was a pillar of the clan and had dedicated his life to it. Becoming the head of the clan had always been Lin Badao's dream, and because he continued to fail at his attempts, there was a knot in his heart. 2. Lin Hen's energy was becoming stronger and stronger. It was oppressing Lin Wu so much that he could hardly breathe. He had never felt such a horrible pressure, and he regretted his previous arrogance. Everybody believed that Lin Wu was at the 8th chi layer, but he had actually broken through to the 9th chi layer not long before. He had thought that he would amaze everyone at this year's annual meeting, but his dream hadn't come to reality. He had not been given the chance to show anything exceptional to the audience. Lin Hen was threatening him at that moment and telling him to leave while he still could, otherwise he would have to bear the consequences. Before you insult and humiliate other people, you better think twice. I am not willing to fight against you for the sake of the clan. It is not because I am less powerful than you. I despise you, and if it were not for the blood we share, I would kill you where you stand, said Lin Hen. He seemed like a completely different person. The power of the chaotic energy was still increasing, and Lin Heng was about to make his final count. I give up, said Lin Wu, who felt that he was about to be crushed by the force of the chaotic energy. Then he turned around and left the battle stage without looking back. Lin Hen is so strong, said the crowd as if they were worshipping him. Breaking through to the Ling Chi layer is the dream of every young cultivator. Reaching it before the age of 20 gave even more chances to break through to even higher layers later, such as the Xian Chi layer, or even the extremely powerful Sky Chi layer. Very interesting, said Lin Feng, who was laughing. Lin Hen had broken through to the Ling Chi layer. The 6th elder had probably voluntarily arranged the battles like he did to promote his own son's fame. Lin Hen had given up during the 2nd round, so he really wanted to see Lin Hen fight Lin Wu during the 3rd round. He was happy that Lin Wu had been taught a lesson in front of such a large crowd. He even surrendered like a coward, which he was calling Lin Hen previously. Piece of trash, what gives you the right to laugh at me? You're the disgrace of the clan. Lin Wu's expression was hideous when he saw Lin Feng's smile. He couldn't help but shout at him extremely loudly, to the extent that his shout resonated in the entire fighting arena. When people heard that Lin Wu was shouting at Lin Feng, they couldn't help but burst into laughter. Especially Lin Badao, who said, Lin Wu had lost against Lin Hen, who had reached the Ling Chi layer, so he hadn't lost face at all, but I wouldn't have thought that a piece of trash would dare laugh at him. He really shameless, he's truly a disgrace. When Lin Zhan heard these few words, he directly felt much better and said in a cold tone, that piece of trash is overestimating his capabilities. Lin Hai, who wasn't far from them, had an extremely cold expression, and was repressing the urge to kill them on the spot. Lin Feng was stupefied. He clearly hadn't thought that Lin Wu had anything to be angry about. He had just been unlucky to have provoked the wrong person with his arrogance. Why would he then try to bully him? What are you looking at, piece of trash? Instead of hiding behind your daddy, wouldn't you prefer fighting against me? Lin Wu was so furious that there was no space in his heart to contain his wrath, so he used Lin Feng to release all his anger. It's the first time that I see such a ridiculous and laughable person. You just got humiliated because of your own arrogance, so you are attempting to bully me. Pathetic. Lin Feng shook his head and then moved towards Lin Wu. I will just count down from 3 to 1 if you do not leave my sight. Then do not blame me for being merciless. Lin Feng had used almost the same words as Lin Hen. The entire area suddenly turned silent. Only Lin Feng's voice could be heard. Everyone watching felt confused by Lin Feng's actions. Lin Hen had already broken through to the Ling Chi layer, so it was normal for him to threaten Lin Wu. But Lin Feng was doing the same now and was telling Lin Wu to get out of his sight. The previous shame and humiliation had already made Lin Wu enraged. He had been humiliated by Lin Hen and hadn't felt anger, but the fact that that piece of trash dared to humiliate him was unbearable. He felt like a knife was stabbing his heart, and his anger could be seen on his bright red face. Do you want to die? Lin Wu was releasing clear killing intent, and his gaze was like a wild beast. At that moment, an extremely strong force surrounded Lin Wu and came crashing down onto him. Even though it wasn't as strong as Lin Hen's chaotic energy, Lin Wu once again felt fear fill his heart. He had once again been surrounded by an oppressive force that was crushing down onto his whole body. 3. Lin Feng started the countdown in a low voice. The power of the force which was crushing Lin Wu's body was growing stronger and stronger over time. Lin Wu was almost suffocating from the energy filling the atmosphere. All his feelings, wrath, shame, resentment, suddenly all vanished. The only feeling he had left was fear and self-preservation. He was at the 9th chi layer and the piece of trash which was facing him was using energy strong enough to suppress him. Was he also Ling chi layer? Everybody was confused. They only saw that Lin Wu was suddenly panicked and gasping for breath. Lin Feng was walking slowly and calmly towards Lin Wu, which gave everyone the impression that time had stopped. Even if the crowd could sense the qi contained within the force which was released by Lin Feng, it was in perfect harmony with the elements. Lin Feng looked like a completely different person in the eyes of the Lin clan members. Lin Feng seemed to be in perfect balance with the elements and forces between heaven and earth. 2. Said Lin Feng while taking another step forward. Even if he wasn't shouting, his words felt like a hammer stroking Lin Wu's chest. Lin Wu's heart was pounding. He could only think of ways to flee this current situation. However, he could barely move. The force had become much stronger than the initial pressure. Lin Wu was still feeling extremely oppressed and at the same time was trying to escape backwards. It didn't even look like a battle was happening. It looked ridiculous. His confidence had disappeared even though Lin Feng had only taken 2 steps forward. What's going on? Lin Wu is trying to escape? Whispered members who were watching the events. I really think that Lin Feng has unlocked his hidden talent. Can he really be called trash anymore? It's almost as if he has unsheathed a sword and is cutting down the pride of anyone who was trying to obstruct his way. There is one last word left, said Lin Feng while smiling at Lin Wu, but it seemed like Lin Feng was making fun of Lin Wu. Lin Wu was a true coward in every sense of the word. When faced with the pressure stronger than his own, he never even attempted to fight. Lin Wu had a spear in his hand which fell down onto the ground. He looked very weak and fragile. Lin Hen hadn't needed to humiliate him that much. He knew himself that his strength wasn't sufficient to fight back against the Ling Qi layer. Lin Feng's force though had completely destroyed his self-confidence and humiliated him much worse than Lin Hen. He had the feeling that he was never truly strong and the strength he had was just a fantasy created by his arrogance when bullying the weak. That kind of humiliation was truly scary and would take root deep inside the subconscious, making any advancements in the path of cultivation much more difficult. I give up, said Lin Wu while biting his lips. He seemed to gain a small insight into the world. He used to regard himself as infallible. He believed he was extremely powerful and because of that he was extremely arrogant. He couldn't bear thinking about how he used to be. Give up, said Lin Feng while smiling. I said to get out of my sight. Since I can still see you, I will give you one last chance to get out of my sight by crawling on your belly like the worm you are. He was humiliating him over and over again. Could the anger that he felt be satisfied with only words? If Lin Wu had been able to defeat Lin Feng would have been humiliated and endlessly bullied. Lin Wu would have never let him off so easily. But when Lin Wu found out that he couldn't defeat Lin Feng, then he would just give up. Were these words really enough? What about the horrible things he had said before? Could they be forgotten that easily? It was obviously impossible. Lin Feng wasn't a sage, he was just an ordinary young man. An ordinary young man with feelings such as hate, love, courage, and revenge. I give up. Isn't it enough? You really want me to crawl away? Lin Wu was furious and had started yelling again. Is giving up enough to make us even? You call me a piece of trash, the disgrace of the Lin clan. How should I punish you for your insults? Do you think it's enough? You got humiliated by him and then take it out on me. Do you think it's enough? Said Lin Feng while smiling coldly. Now you realize that you cannot compete with me, and only say a few words and you think it's enough. Are you looking to die today? Lin Wu was extremely scared. It seems like time has come. Lin Feng had a smile on his face. I will give you one last chance. If you do not get out of my sight, you will bear the consequences of your actions. While saying this, Lin Feng kept moving forwards. Lin Wu groaned and immediately laid down on the ground. He looked extremely ashamed and weak. Lin Feng had an aura which was filled with killing intent, which left Lin Wu extremely frightened. Regardless of his feelings of shame and resentment, Lin Feng's killing intent scared him back to reality. He has never felt such a murderous intent before. It was truly terrifying. I'll get out of your sight, said Lin Wu while forcing a smile. His smile was filled with regret and shame. He crawled on the ground away from Lin Feng. Piece of trash. Disgrace of the clan. That piece of trash is the same piece of trash as before. While crawling on the ground, Lin Wu remembered all the horrible names and insults he had given Lin Feng. He knew that he was acting like a fool. He was at the 9th Qi layer, he was an outstanding disciple and one of the clan's future stars. Why had he ended up being so petty? Everybody in the crowd was looking at Lin Wu crawling on the ground. They couldn't believe their eyes. They only thought that Lin Feng was insane, suddenly demanding Lin Wu to crawl on the ground and get out of his sight. They wouldn't have thought that he had meant it or that Lin Wu would actually do it. Lin Wu, said Lin Zhen. He was shaking. How did such an event come to pass? His son should have the same prideful expression on his face that he always had. He should be the pride of the clan, a true genius who is just a little weaker than Lin Qian. But in such a short time Lin Wu had been humiliated twice, to the extent that the second time he was crawling on the ground like a worm. Bastard! Lin Zhen was furious. He wanted to kill Lin Feng on the spot. Lin Hai lazily sighed when he saw that Lin Zhen was furious. It seemed like the entire space was growing colder, ready to punish Lin Zhen for any actions he made. Calm down. Lin Badao had noticed that Lin Zhen was furious and apathetically added, "Don't worry, that piece of trash will not be arrogant for much longer." Lin Zhen was still as furious as before. He stared at Lin Hai and then sat down. He knew that he could not do as he pleased as long as Lin Hai was there. Lin Feng wins, said the 6th elder while staring at Lin Feng. Lin Feng wasn't like the great majority of the junior members of the Lin clan. He hadn't inherited a fire or ice spirit. Instead he had inherited a small snake spirit. But that small snake spirit wasn't like a normal beast spirit. Nobody knew what use it had. It didn't seem to be that strong or powerful. Because they could not sense its power and did not know the uses of such a spirit, it was deemed a trash spirit. That is why Lin Feng was called a piece of trash by everyone. He was regarded as a disgrace. Lin Feng also practiced at an extremely slow pace on the path of cultivation, which made him even more infamous within the clan. Everybody despised him. But that piece of trash had defeated Lin Yan and had made Lin Wu, who considered himself above ordinary members of the clan, crawl on the ground like a worm. Was he still the piece of trash he used to be? Was his spirit really useless? When the father is a dragon, the son can never be a snake, thought the 6th elder. He then said, "Have a rest for half an hour and then we'll continue with the upcoming battles." "Elder, we four are not tired, we don't need to rest. Let's continue now, please," said Lin Qian in a nonchalant way. Even if she was extremely arrogant towards the other members of the Lin clan, she was slightly more polite recently. Elders of the Lin clan didn't mind her being arrogant, but Chu Zhanpeng did not like her arrogance. She was being taught to not be arrogant to those who are stronger than her. "My sister is right, let's continue now," added Lin Hong. Both brother and sister had reached the semifinals. This day was a wonderful one for Lin Badao, and his standing within the clan. This would make his attempt to become clan head go very smoothly. The 6th elder looked at Lin Feng. "What is your opinion?" Regarding his son, Lin Hen, he already knew his opinion, which only left Lin Feng. "No problem, we can continue," said Lin Feng while nodding. Until that moment he hadn't really used his power anyway. "If you're all right with it, then let's continue right now," declared the 6th elder. The semifinals will be as such. Lin Feng versus Lin Hong and Lin Qian versus Lin Hen. Lin Feng and Lin Hong, you can start first. The 6th elder unexpectedly made Lin Hen fight against Lin Qian. He must really expect a lot from him. Lin Hen is at the same level as Lin Qian. They have both broken through to the Ling Qi layer. Lin Hong is also extremely strong but couldn't compete with them. As far as Lin Feng is concerned, it's also impossible for him to defeat Lin Hen. Only Lin Qian could compete with him. The 6th elder probably thinks like that, and that's why he arranged the battles that way. The way the battles are arranged is not important anyway, what is important is strength. Everybody was making all sorts of comments on the matchups. But at that time, Lin Badao stood up and said in a clear loud voice, "6th elder, would you allow me to say a few words?" "All right," said the 6th elder while nodding. These 4 juniors are at the highest ranks of this year's annual meeting. They represent the new generation of our Lin clan and its future prospects. I think that forfeiting should be declared invalid. Only fighting until one of them can no longer continue. They should fight like true warriors of the Lin clan until the end. That way, they will be forced to fully exploit their potential, and perhaps even gain insight towards their path of cultivation," said Lin Badao with assurance while looking at Lin Hai every once in a while as if he was trying to provoke him. "How cruel. It seems like he really wants Lin Hong to cripple Lin Feng," said some members of the crowd. They had all understood Lin Badao's thoughts. They could tell that he had nothing but cruel intentions. "Clan head, what do you think about my proposal?" Lin Badao asked Lin Hai, who had the feeling that Lin Badao was constantly positioning his knife behind Lin Hai's back with the words, "Clan head." He was smiling at Lin Hai. If Lin Hai didn't accept, Lin Feng would lose face. If he did accept and Lin Feng lost, that would ruin the reputation of his family. Lin Badao had seized this opportunity to destroy his competition. Lin Hai looked embarrassed. Lin Feng had already shown more strength than expected. He felt gratified, but Lin Badao's proposal was insane. Even if Lin Feng managed to defeat Lin Hong, what would happen during the final? Lin Badao wanted to see Lin Feng die by the hands of one of his children. What's going on? The head of my clan cannot show some courage and resolution. Allow our juniors to show what they are capable of in a real battle," Lin Badao said when he saw that Lin Hai was hesitant and not replying. "Father, hurry up and accept," said Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't help but shiver a little bit. Lin Feng's family had never done wrong to Lin Badao's family, and had never considered them as enemies. They even considered them as close relatives, but Lin Badao's family was constantly trying to manipulate Lin Hai, and would constantly make attempts on Lin Feng's life. Since they wanted to do things in such a way, Lin Feng's would have to return the favor. Lin Hai looked at Lin Badao's expression. He looked extremely confident. Lin Hai just said one word. All right. Lin Hai definitely deserves to be the head of the clan. He's brave. Since the clan head has agreed, let's get started. Sixth Elder, allow Lin Qian and Lin Hen to fight first, please." Lin Badao looked high-spirited and vigorous. He was feeling very satisfied. Since Lin Hai had accepted, everyone just had to wait and see. "Okay," said the sixth elder while nodding. "You should give up. You cannot defeat me," said Lin Qian while getting on the fighting stage. She was dusting off her red robes, which remained untouched. She looked insufferably arrogant. "Even if I cannot defeat you, we still have to fight to determine the results," Lin Hen said, preparing to start fighting. He released his fire spirit and the atmosphere became unbelievably hot. Heat roared from the stage and the whole crowd could feel warmth on their faces. "Your spirit has also awakened, not bad. What a pity though that it's only a fire spirit. It isn't worth much. You still won't have a chance when fighting against me," said Lin Qian in a cold and detached tone. On the path of cultivation, one of the major steps was to reach the Ling Qi layer and then to have one's spirit awaken. Some people's spirit became much stronger when it awoke, and whereas some spirits did not vary much from others and were just average strength, after being awakened, Lin Qian's universal ice and fire spirit had become infinitely stronger. Her control over the elements of ice and fire had reached new heights. Her universal ice and fire spirit appeared behind her back. The clear ice was covered in flames. The raging flames were covering the ice and the fire seemed to be emitting frost at the same time. The atmosphere was sometimes extremely hot, sometimes extremely cold. It was an extremely strange feeling for the crowd who continued to feel the altering temperatures. I had heard that Lin Qian's universal ice and fire spirit was about to awaken. It wasn't only a rumor. It really is an awakened spirit. She really is the genius of the Lin clan. Lin Feng, that piece of trash, is not even worthy of her attention. Exactly. No wonder so many of the elders support her. Besides, the universal ice and fire spirit is a high-class spirit. She can practice fire as well as ice techniques, which can also greatly improve her agility techniques, by combining knowledge of fire and ice-based techniques, and using them simultaneously. She will definitely become a powerful practitioner. When Lin Badao heard these clan members whisper about his daughter, he couldn't help but have a huge smile on his face. All the elders next to him were also smiling. "Everlasting snow," Lin Qian had said in an apathetic tone. The ground turned into ice. A white fog was rising in all directions and formed clouds which emanated an icy aura. Ice has a restraining effect on fire. Therefore Lin Qian had used an ice skill to counter Lin Hen. Scorching magma, shouted Lin Hen. He opened his hand and there was a blazing hot fireball in his palm. Ice spike, said Lin Qian, contented and not scared at all. Ice collapsed into Lin Hen's hand and in an instant, his hand was enclosed within a layer of ice. Ignite, said Lin Hen while coughing because of the ice within the air which hurt his lungs. The ice turned into vapor which froze the air, making it hard to breathe. Lin Hen's hand was extreme painful. He couldn't tell exactly where the pain was, but he had the feeling his head was going to explode. Boom! A sudden explosion and Lin Hen was sent flying backwards. The center of his palm was burned black. The flesh and blood of his hand was in terrible shape. Lin Hen, said the sixth elder with worry. I'm all right, said Lin Hen while biting his lip. He was shivering and his jaw could not stop moving. One could hear the sound of his clacking teeth. He was enduring a strong and violent pain. The pain in his hand was agonizing as the ice was trying to freeze the wound, causing even greater pain. We will have a rematch in the future, said Lin Hen while staring at Lin Qian. He then turned around and left. It made his father sigh. Even though Lin Hen wasn't really naturally talented, he was extremely determined and stubborn. He wanted to become a man of overwhelming power. Even if he did not have talent, he would work harder than anyone else to become strong. You will never be able to defeat me, give up on trying, said Lin Qian, arrogant as always. She was going to be so strong in the future that nobody in the Lin clan would be able to compete with her. If no one could touch her now, how would they in the future when she grew stronger with her spirit? Universal fire and ice spirit. She is able to use two elements of antagonistic power in the blink of an eye. Her potential will continue to increase. Lin Hai was frowning. The stronger Lin Qian was, the more dangerous it became for Lin Feng. It's your turn, said Lin Qian while smiling coldly at Lin Feng, and then came down off the battle stage. Lin Feng raised his head and looked at the clear and boundless sky and the sun. Lin Feng was walking slowly towards the battle stage and then stepped onto it. Lin Hong was already waiting for him there. I've been waiting for this opportunity for a long time, said Lin Hong while looking at Lin Feng. I know, said Lin Feng while nodding. You never had a single hope for victory. You are going to fight me now, but even if you had fought against Lin Qian, it would have been the same. There was never any chance for you to come out of the unscathed. Lin Feng just laughed. Lin Hong had so much self-confidence that surrounded him like an aura. Lin Feng in his eyes had no value. What are you laughing at? Asked Lin Hong. Do you think that because you won against Lin Wu you can compete with me? If you believe we are the same, then you are still too immature and overestimate your abilities. Just go ahead and say that you are unmatched beneath the heavens. Say that I will never see such an amazing talent such as yourself in the next 10,000 years, said Lin Feng in a teasing tone. Lin Feng hadn't even fought against Lin Wu, and had managed to make him crawl on the ground like a worm. Lin Hong, who hadn't broken through to the Ling Qi layer yet, and thought he could be that self-confident. Obviously, Lin Hong was furious at those words. All right, I understand. I will just have to kill you, Lin Hong said with an evil look. Behind him appeared an ice and snow spirit, and a freezing cold qi surrounded his body. Ling Qi layer. Lin Hong had also broken through to the Ling Qi layer. He was also hiding it. Shouted members of the audience. No wonder that their father plays a dominant role in the Lin clan. His son and daughter are both geniuses which are only seen every 1,000 years. They have both broken through to the Ling Qi layer. This is incredible for our clan's future prospects. I think the clan definitely needs to change its head of clan now. Many people were getting very agitated thinking that Lin Ba Dao should become the head of the clan. They thought it would mean the rise of the clan into new heights of fame and glory. They thought the clan would become the strongest in Yangzhou City under the control of Lin Ba Dao. For this year's annual meeting, I will end up on the battle stage with my sister. You are just a pitiful appetizer before the real fight. You will be crippled with a single strike. Your father will step down as clan head. He will need the spare time to care for his crippled son, said Lin Hong, revealing his true vile nature. An ice-cold qi had invaded the entire atmosphere. The Shuang Mountain village only accepted cultivators who possessed an ice and snow spirit. Ice and snow skills, agility techniques, abilities were all extremely powerful. Lin Hong was studying all of these skills at the Shuang Mountain village. His body was diffusing an extremely cold air, and it was clear that he wasn't the least bit weak. He was as strong or maybe even stronger than Lin Qian. Very quickly, Lin Feng's body was covered with a white layer of frost and snow. They hadn't even properly started the battle, but Lin Feng was already affected by his opponent. Roaring thunder. Lin Feng took the initiative to strike the first blow. Thunderous roars filled the atmosphere, which stupefied everyone. When they saw the sword, which was emitted radiant rays of light, they could tell that Lin Feng was also hiding exceptional power. Nonetheless, everyone still only had eyes for Lin Qian, Lin Hen and Lin Hong because they had all broken through to the Ling Qi layer. Lin Feng's sword thrust towards Lin Hong. Lin Hong wasn't taking it seriously. He just sluggishly raised his palm and an ice-cold qi emerged. Lin Feng's long sword was covered with frost and snow as it was deflected. Roaring thunder. Lin Feng's movements were quick and agile. His sword, while shaking from the vibrations of the attack, also shook off the frost and snow that was covering it and once again thrust towards Lin Hong. Humph. Lin Hong was smiling coldly. Lin Hong's palm shot towards Lin Feng's sword. An extremely strong ice qi arose which made the point of Lin Feng's sword vibrate. A strong energy was starting to fill the atmosphere. The Ling Qi layer. Cultivators who have reached it are strong. Strong qi, agile physical strength. They're really much stronger than cultivators of the qi layer. Lin Feng sensed an extremely strong power going through his sword. He felt gloomy in his heart, but his face never changed from his relaxed smile. 9 heavy waves. Lin Feng pulled his sword back and instantly strong shock waves ran down his arm and shot out from his hand, aimed directly at Lin Hong's chest. Huh. Lin Hong frowned. He would have never thought that Lin Feng was able to use 2 different skills using both his hands at the same time. That was an extremely difficult thing to achieve, but the way Lin Feng did it was completely flawless. Piss off, shouted Lin Hong. Even though he had broken through to the Ling Qi layer, he wasn't dominating the battle at all, against all of his expectations. Ice and snow started whirling together in the air as if they were dancing. The waves suddenly came to a halt and could not move forward. Lin Feng did not stop and repeatedly thrust his sword towards Lin Hong. Lin Feng's sword was whistling through the air and thunderous roars were still increasing within the atmosphere. Lin Feng was standing on his feet as firmly as a mountain without taking a step backwards. His sword looked like a ferocious dragon which called forth a violent thunderstorm. Wow, said Lin Hai in a low voice. This is Lin Feng's true power. Movement skills techniques were all far above expectations. Quick, agile, skillful. Lin Hong was forced to move back with an ugly expression on his face. Even though he had only made a step back, he was a cultivator of the Ling Qi layer and he was wildly arrogant and presumptuous. He even said that Lin Feng wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow. Yet each sword attack seemed quicker than the last and Lin Feng had forced him to step back. Obviously, his face was not as bright as when he believed he could defeat Lin Feng in a single strike. He was being humiliated by someone who has not reached Ling Qi layer. He could no longer contain his fury at the humiliation he had suffered. I am going to kill you, Lin Hong shouted. Frozen shadows. The atmosphere became deathly silent and as the temperature started to drop drastically, the ground was starting to freeze solid. An unusual snow started to fall from the sky. Shadow snowflakes. They completely surrounded the arena, and some even started to whirl around Lin Hong, creating what looked like a shield of snow. The temperature continued to drop lower and lower until everything within sight had started to freeze over. If you want to kill me, you first need to have the skills to do it, said Lin Feng as snow continued to fall heavily onto him. His eyebrows were frosty which made them look white, but his eyes were like black holes which consumed all life from the atmosphere around him. He stood in place unmoving and as calm as ever. He took a step forward and the whole stage began to shake. Not only the stage but the earth beneath began to tremble violently. The energy contained within Lin Feng's qi had not weakened within this world of snow, but it had also become much stronger than ever before. Increasing the energy within his qi led to increased strength. Lin Feng was determined to finish Lin Hong off quickly by using all of his power. He started to absorb the force contained within the ice and snow, then concentrated all of the force into his fist and the tip of his sword. He was not only using the force from the snow and ice within the area, but was also borrowing force from heaven and earth. The force which he had absorbed to this point was on a terrifying level. Lin Feng concentrated force into his left fist, while his right arm would thrust out and create earth-shattering thunderous roars in the direction of Lin Hong. The power of his roaring thunder was growing more and more terrifying with each thrust of his sword. His attacks had started to look like real lightning bolts bursting through the air. It seemed like the entire snow-filled atmosphere was getting cut into pieces by the power of thunder and lightning. Lin Hong's pupils shrunk in shock. Lin Feng's sword was even more powerful now than just a moment before. The snow atmosphere created was intended to weaken his attack power, not increase it. Not only were his attacks growing stronger, but they also emanated a strong force. It seemed like the force of all the elements were becoming sword force which consumed the snow, adding to its power. Lin Hong raised both his hands up in the air. Lin Hong wasn't underestimating Lin Feng's power any longer. He started using a strong qi of ice and snow, which began to fill the air before disappearing into Lin Feng's sword. Lin Hong could not believe his eyes. His power was being absorbed and converted into the opponent's attack power. Anything that stands in the way of a sword master will be annihilated. There is no power which can dominate the sword, said Lin Feng. He made another step and his sword started radiating light. The power contained within the tip of this sword looked more powerful than anything within heaven and earth. Lin Feng began walking towards Lin Hong. With each step a thunderous roar filled the air as his sword thrust against the snow between him and Lin Hong. Lin Hong stepped back and then stepped back again. He was unconsciously retreating as his body could sense the danger. Lin Hong looked like he had just seen a ghost. His face was incredibly pale. At that moment the entire crowd was absolutely amazed at what they could see. Lin Feng was continuing to advance while Lin Hong retreated. How is this even possible? How could Lin Feng be so strong? Lin Hong has broken through to the Ling Qi layer. Yet he continues to retreat from Lin Feng's sword. The crowd did not know how to explain the fact that Lin Feng was so unbelievably strong. The difference between the Qi layer and the Ling Qi layer wasn't small. It was a huge gap which required a cultivator to be extremely talented to overcome the difference in power, and to do it at such a young age required a true genius. How could Lin Feng, the trash of the Lin clan, have become a genius in such a short time? Lin Badao was even more astonished. His face had become extremely twisted and ugly. His killing intent towards Lin Feng had grown even stronger. Lin Hai looked amazed. He had a big smile on his face and a proud look in his eyes. No wonder Lin Feng had so much confidence. He was so strong when using a sword. It seemed like Lin Feng had hidden his true strength his entire life. It seems like little Feng has never released his spirit. If his spirit awakens, what kind of spectacle would it be? Thought Lin Hai. His thoughts were racing. He felt endlessly gratified. It seemed like he was witnessing the abrupt rise of his son. It seemed like his son wasn't a piece of trash actually, but rather a legend in the making. Lin Hai glanced at Lin Badao in a teasing way. Lin Hong was going insane. He was shouting like a madman while trying to create another snow-based barrier. "Why are you shouting?" asked Lin Feng while smiling coldly. The qi of the sword was rolling in the atmosphere, creating strong gusts of wind which conquered anything that came into their path. Lin Hong had no chance to win any longer. Every attack he used would only strengthen the force contained within Lin Feng's sword. Whoosh! Lin Feng's sword made a whistling sound. The qi of Lin Hong's snow shield was destroyed by Lin Feng's sword again. This time, however, Lin Hong wasn't able to withstand the full attack. His clothes were ripping into pieces and blood was dripping down his body. The sword had not struck him, but the qi from the attack had caused him to end up in such a sorry state. Lin Hong could feel a chill running down his spine as his body grew cold. It was the first time that his own qi had made him feel cold, so cold that it was chilling him to the bone. Even more shocking, the qi which injured him was his own. Not only was he injured, but his life was now at stake. Lin Feng's sword had no mercy contained within. If there was a single opportunity, Lin Feng would kill him. That's right, at that moment, Lin Hong became aware of how dangerous the situation had become for him. Until now, he had thought that he would be able to attack Lin Feng without retaliation, able to take Lin Feng's life, but he had never thought that the situation would be the exact opposite. Lin Hong hated himself for not practicing his agility techniques. He could not see a way for him to retreat from this situation. All of Lin Feng's attacks were flawless. He was in complete fusion his sword qi. Boom! A strong wind destroyed the snow-filled atmosphere. Lin Feng had started to move and the atmosphere itself was twisting and exploding. It looked like the apocalypse and the only thing left standing within was a single sword. This looks dangerous. Lin Badao looked glum and shouted, "You animal, you are clearly stronger, don't you dare." "Shut up. Lin Badao, have you forgotten that you are the one who suggested this situation? Now that Lin Hong is not able to defeat Lin Feng, you want to intervene?" said Lin Hai, preventing Lin Badao from getting involved. He moved and seemed to disappear. He was instantly in front of Lin Badao. He no longer had any mercy left for Lin Badao. He had given up hope. Even if Lin Hai still had friendly feelings for Lin Badao from the past, Lin Badao bore a bitter hatred for him and his son. Considering Lin Badao wanted to take Lin Feng's life, Lin Hai could only be just as ruthless. Lin Hong gave a horrible shriek, making Lin Badao's face change drastically. "Out of my way!" he shouted as he tried to move past Lin Hai. "Don't imagine you can act as you wish with such little power." Lin Hai released his spirit. It seemed like the universe had frozen and time had stopped. Lin Badao had frozen over where he stood. "I am not in the mood anymore. Since you and your direct family constantly tries to take my life, you should just die here." Lin Feng was gazing at Lin Hong, who was covering his wounds, trying to prevent the blood from spilling onto the stage. Lin Feng looked completely heartless at this moment. He watched Lin Hong with a cold smile on his face. Lin Feng looked like he was deciding whether to chop him in half horizontally or vertically. "Don't you dare!" shouted a fragile voice. It was Lin Qian. Her ice and fire spirit burst out of her body. Lin Feng had the sensation he was burning and freezing at the same time. Lin Qian was quickly approaching him. "Get lost!" Lin Feng turned around. He thrust out his sword and unleashed all of the contained force and an endless amount of qi. Boom! The ice and fire filling the atmosphere dispersed in an instant. "Die!" shouted a cold voice from behind him. Before Lin Feng could turn around, a sword had already pierced his throat. An extremely strong power was unleashed within the atmosphere and Lin Feng was sent flying backwards. Blood began to spray endlessly from his throat as he flew through the air. "You have no integrity and no morals," Lin Hai shouted in a long and mournful cry. While Lin Hai was preventing Lin Badao from getting involved, Lin Zhen rushed to the stage and used the opportunity to cut Lin Feng's jugular. Ice Age! Lin Hai had gone into a rage. The entire atmosphere froze. Lin Zhen had a gloomy face as he sensed an incomparably strong ice chi strike him in the face. Everyone in the crowd had been frozen into place. "Help me!" shouted Lin Zhen. It was already too late. Lin Hai's palm was already in front of him and then smashed down into his chest. His pupils were wide open while staring at Lin Hai. "You, actually, dared to kill me." Blood was uninterruptedly spilling out of Lin Zhen's mouth. Lin Hai didn't just attack Lin Zhen's chest, but had sent his ice chi into his body, which had destroyed most of his organs. Lin Hai had already sealed Lin Zhen's fate. "Lin Zhen, you attacked my son by surprise. I will never forgive you." Lin Hai's tone was extremely cold. Lin Hai's hand was shaking with anger. Lin Zhen's eyes were wide open and staring at Lin Hai with hatred and resentment as he slowly died. Everyone looked as rigid as statues. Had the Lin Zhen been killed so easily? At that moment, the entire crowd looked at Lin Hai. Their eyes were filled with fear. Only an extraordinary strength of this level could bring terror to the hearts of everyone present. Was there really such a monster within the Lin clan? At that moment, Lin Badao didn't dare move a finger. Lin Hai turned around and looked at Lin Qian and said in a cold and detached tone, "A genius of the Hao Yu sect? A genius of the Snow Shadow Mountain village? Both of you are shameless trash." Lin Qian bit her lips. She could see Lin Hai's murderous intentions. She didn't dare say a word. He started walking. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Everyone feared that a single sound could cause the deaths of everyone present. He was moving towards Lin Qian because Lin Hong had lost the battle, but Lin Zhen as well as Lin Qian had attacked Lin Feng by surprise. When they thought that Lin Hong would be able to defeat Lin Feng, they wanted to push the battles as far as possible without the possibility of surrender, hoping that Lin Feng would die. When they found out that nothing was happening the way they had expected, They wanted to get involved and attacked Lin Feng by surprise and cut his throat. How could Lin Hai not be furious? What do you intend to do? Lin Qian asked, staring at Lin Hai. Exterminate you all, said Lin Hai with a clear voice. At that moment, nothing could calm his anger. Would you dare to kill me? Lin Qian asked, whose face looked completely frozen. Why wouldn't I? Replied Lin Hai, grinning with the same killing intent filling his eyes. Lin Hai, do you know what you are doing? Shouted Lin Badao and some other elders who were in panic. Lin Hai, you bastard! Who do you think it is that you are threatening? Don't talk nonsense to me. Today I will kill anyone who gets in my way. Lin Hai said while his eyes looked over the crowd. His gaze pierced like daggers. Lin Hai looked at the elders' miserable expressions, narrowed his eyes, and suddenly a distant voice was heard. Is that so? Somewhere in the territory of the Lin clan, a vast and powerful force with an incredible qi burst out. Immediately after, the crowd noticed a human silhouette about a kilometer away. The figure flew at an incredible speed, moving over the crowd and landing on the fighting stage. It was an old man. His eyebrows were as black as ink. He looked extremely mysterious. His frame was sturdy and he was as tall as Lin Hai. He looked extremely similar to Lin Badao. Honorable elder, whispered Lin Hai, and then immediately smiled, but it looked like a sorrowful smile. It was his uncle Lin Rui. Lin Rui is usually always practicing cultivation within the Lin clan territory. Each time there was a problem, whether it was important or not, the head of the clan and the elders dealt with them. Lin Rui would almost never break his training and come to meet with the clan. Honorable elder. Everybody was stupefied at the display of power he had just shown. Flying through the sky like he was walking in a quiet and peaceful courtyard. It required incredibly strong agility techniques and a high level of cultivation. Lin Feng was lying on the floor powerless as blood still poured from his throat. He quickly swallowed a few profound healing pills. His wound had begun to heal, but he had lost so much blood that he could only lay there while the pill healed him. While looking up at Lin Rui from the ground, he remembered that he had seen him only twice. The honorable elder almost never came out. Honorable elder Lin Hai, the clan of the head, attaches no importance to the Lin clan. He groundlessly killed the seventh elder. Right now, he also wants to kill an unprecedented genius of the Lin clan, Lin Qian. He even threatened all of the elders and clan members present. Honorable elder, please punish Lin Hai for all of his crimes, said the elders, as if Lin Hai was at the origin of all the problems within the clan. Lin Hai could only laugh at his situation. Lin Hai, what are you laughing at? Asked Lin Rui in an apathetic tone. I'm laughing because they are really shameless. Initially, wasn't the honorable elder supposed to support the clan from the background and not get involved with the clan, unless the clan was in danger? Said Lin Hai sarcastically. How impudent and presumptuous. How dare you talk to me like this? Lin Rui said in an ice-cold tone, and anger filled his eyes. Uncle, I am the head of the Lin clan. Even if you have the status of an honorable elder, it doesn't give you the right to concern yourself with how I handle the affairs of the clan. As clan head, my decision is the final decision on these matters, said Lin Hai stubbornly. He was standing with his back straight and head held high while looking Lin Rui in the eyes. What nerves you have! The honorable elder is not just any elder. He is also an elder of your own bloodline. You have the audacity to make no distinction between juniors and seniors. That itself counts as a crime against the clan. Lin Badao said in an attempt to incite unrest. A crime? I only said that I am the head of the clan and my decision on clan affairs are final. That's a fact. Lin Hai knew what the inevitable outcome of that situation was going to be. He turned around and went towards Lin Feng. A palm filled with ice suddenly shot towards Lin Hai. Lin Hai kept walking towards Lin Feng, ignoring the incoming attack. The palm of ice landed firmly on Lin Hai's defenseless back. It was an extremely powerful attack. Lin Hai's entire body was immediately covered with frost, and a chill filled his body. He was completely white from head to foot and suddenly flew towards Lin Feng looking like a kite with a broken string. Huh! Shouted Lin Hai, surprised. He was kneeling down on the ground. He had flown over to Lin Feng and been caught mid-air. He was shocked that his son was not dead and seemed unharmed when he caught him. Nonetheless, his facial expression hadn't changed since the beginning. Uncle, you attacked me from behind when I was defenseless. From now on, there is no bond that exists between me and this clan, and from this day forward I am cutting my blood ties with you," said Lin Hai with blood spilling out of his mouth. He had been attacked by surprise by Lin Rui. He could feel the cold piercing through to his bones and was slightly shivering from the cold. If Lin Feng hadn't caught him as he flew through the air, he would have landed much farther away. "PFFF, we are indeed blood-related. You are my family, so I will not kill you. Just get lost," Lin Rui said coldly. He hadn't expected that Lin Hai wouldn't block the attack, so he had attacked without hesitation. He had mixed feelings about what had just happened. Lin Qian was starting to be well known in the clan as a genius. She had a bright future before her, and she would raise the clan to new levels of fame and status. If the clan rose in fame and status, then Lin Rui could also gain benefits. The skills and abilities of that piece of trash, Lin Feng, greatly improved, but a useless spirit remains a useless spirit. Lin Feng will never be able to reach the same level as someone like Lin Qian, thought Lin Rui. "Little Feng, we're leaving," whispered Lin Hai to Lin Feng in a soft and fragile voice. Lin Feng nodded. He was still unable to speak. In his heart he could feel nothing but hatred and regret. He looked like a ghost. He had lost so much blood that it was shocking that he was still alive. Lin Feng was able to stand, but he needed Lin Hai's support to walk. Lin Feng didn't even look back at the clan because their faces were already engraved deep into his heart. All the members of the Lin clan looked at him and his father leave. Many members of the clan were confused in their hearts about what had just happened. Lin Feng was known as a piece of trash by everyone. Yet he had such a powerful force fused with his attacks, such a terrifying chi, such skillful sword play. He had defeated a cultivator of the Ling Chi layer, and he even made Lin Wu crawl on the ground like a worm. Could a piece of trash accomplish such things? Lin Hai had killed the Lin Zhen in one strike and had threatened everyone present, saying that he would kill them if they tried to get in his way. If the honorable elder hadn't appeared, who could have stopped him? Unfortunately, Lin Ba Dao had his talented daughter Lin Qian. Otherwise, Lin Hai would have stayed the head of the Lin clan. Regarding Lin Feng and Lin Hai, the opinion of the Lin clan's members had changed. They deserved respect and could be proud of their actions. What a pity, if we had only worked together, then we could rejuvenate the clan and would have no more worries, thought the sixth elder while looking at the two silhouettes on the horizon. He then sighed in regret as he wasn't strong enough to change anything that had happened. He could only remain silent and accept the situation as it was. Lin Hai was meditating in his room. A white and foggy chi was surrounding his body and started to penetrate into him. It was healing all of his wounds and removing the ice chi which had penetrated into his body. Not long after, he opened his eyes and a dazzling light was surrounding his body. "Father, how are you feeling?" asked Lin Feng, who was next to him. "The injuries are almost completely healed." "Little Feng, these pills are amazing. Where did you get them?" asked Lin Hai while grabbing the medicine bottle containing the profound healing pills. Immediately after taking a pill, his injuries suddenly looked much better. He had rapidly recovered from his wounds. "It seems that if I have the opportunity, I'll have to thank Protector Kong." Lin Feng had a big smile on his face. He wouldn't have thought that these pills would have such a powerful effect on his father. On that day when Han Man was injured, Lin Feng had already thought that these pills were mysterious, almost mystical. The honorable elder's attack on Lin Hai would have turned Han Man into meat paste. Lin Hai's injury was much more serious than that of Han Man. Only because Lin Hai was much stronger than Han Man had he survived such an attack. However, as before, the profound healing pill was able to make Lin Hai recover in no time. This showed how powerful these pills were. "Father, one of the protectors within the Yun Hai sect gave them to me," replied Lin Feng. "Oh," Lin Hai nodded. "Little Feng, you should go back to the Yun Hai sect. In a short time, you will probably surpass Lin Qian by leaps and bounds." Surpass Lin Qian? Lin Feng smiled in his heart. He had not even put Lin Qian's level in his eyes. The path of cultivation was vast. How could he pursue such an insignificant thing as trying to surpass Lin Qian? "Father, what about you? Where will you go?" Lin Feng held back his words on his current goal being much greater. He would rather find out if his father had planned to stay with him. I'm getting ready to go to the Imperial City. The Imperial City? Lin Feng was stupefied. The Imperial City is without doubts the biggest, busiest, the most powerful and prosperous city in the Shuiyu country. In the Imperial City, a small clan like the Lin clan could easily disappear without a trace. The Imperial clan was unsurpassed and extremely powerful. Actually, it was also possible to regard the Imperial clan as a sect, as the strongest sect of the entire Shuiyu country. Don't worry, little Feng. Even though the Imperial City is full of extraordinary cultivators, I am not going there to cause trouble or kill people. I'm just going there because I feel like visiting. There will not be any problems if I go there. Practice more, and once you are stronger, come to the Imperial City to see me, said Lin Hai, who saw that Lin Feng was frowning and worry could be seen on his face. Lin Feng immediately looked more relaxed, which made Lin Hai smile. All right, let's leave, Lin Hai said while standing up. He just picked up a few paintings and scrolls, then they left together. They eventually arrived outside the city and came to a halt. They looked at the vast and boundless horizon stretching across the sky, which seemed endless. Lin Hai spat towards the city, turned around and said to Lin Feng while smiling, Little Feng, we are not taking the same road. You leave first, okay? Father, I want to stay here until you are leaving. You can leave first, said Lin Feng while shaking his head. Lin Hai looked at him a bit surprised, then smiled and said, All right, little Feng, people are dangerous and many have evil intentions. Be careful on your journey. When he finished talking, Lin Hai jumped on a horse and quickly disappeared into the distance. His silhouette gradually disappeared. Lin Hai had seen Lin Feng display his power during the annual meeting, and was therefore feeling more relaxed. He had the feeling that Lin Feng did not need his advice anymore, but he could not stop himself from worrying as his father. Lin Feng watched while his father's silhouette disappeared into the horizon. He raised his head, gazed into the sky, and then immediately rode Qian Li Shui back into Yangzhou City. How is it possible to leave things as they are? If I had defeated Lin Qian during the annual meeting, then they would never have treated my father in such a way. I will show the Lin clan. The rain was heavily flowing down. The sky was filled with rain clouds and the scent of rain filled the air. Pedestrians on the streets were running from place to place to try and find shelter from the storm. A young man with a stern look on his face was slowly riding a horse down the street, unbothered by the rain. He was wearing a black waterproof cape and was slowly heading towards the Whistle Wind restaurant. Take good care of my horse, said the young man to one of the restaurant staff as he handed over the reins of his horse. He then calmly walked into the Whistle Wind restaurant. Because of the rain, the Whistle Wind restaurant was bustling with people, and the sounds of laughter could be heard all around. The ground floor of the restaurant was so full that it was hard to move within the crowd. The restaurant was filled with all sorts of people who had come to watch and participate in the annual meetings. The sounds of drunken conversations could be heard all around. The atmosphere was dense with the discussion of rumors and events. Have you heard what happened? Yesterday, Lin Hai and his son, that piece of trash called Lin Feng, were expelled from the Lin clan. The Lin clan had finally decided to remove the trash from their doorstep. Haha, I think the news is already widely spread in the entire city of Yangzhou. No need for you to tell me. Lin Badao is extremely strong. News has already spread about how he defeated Lin Hai and chased him from the clan. However, not only is he very strong, but his son and daughter are greatly talented. They have both already broken through to the Ling Qi layer. They can be proud of themselves to reach such a level at a young age. They are much stronger than that piece of trash will ever be. They say Lin Badao defeated Lin Hai and kicked him from the clan after he ruthlessly attempted to interrupt the fight between Lin Feng and Lin Hong. Lin Feng would have been killed by Lin Hong if the fight continued. How shameless can a clan head be, to attack those of the younger generation without warning? There were surprisingly a large amount of people commenting what had happened within the Lin clan. Lin Feng had arrived on the first floor, and was about to sit down when he heard the comments from the people discussing. He stood up and started heading back down to the ground floor of the restaurant. These lies which are spread about the Lin clan. Obviously we left because we couldn't stand it anymore. Are Lin Badao and his family really such geniuses? Lin Feng thought sarcastically. Lin Badao's audacity seemed to have no end. He had even said that he personally defeated Lin Hai. Lin Feng was keeping calm in the face of the unexpected rumors. "Dear guest, how may I help you?" asked a server while greeting Lin Feng. "I would like a bottle of wine and some pickles," Lin Feng said. In a flash, what he ordered was already on the table. The restaurant was very used to the busy atmosphere at this time of year. "I heard that the Whistle Wind restaurant is the place to come to hear the latest news. I wonder if someone could tell me about the annual meeting for Yangzhou City," thought Lin Feng while pouring some wine into his glass. He raised his glass and toasted that his father was finally free from the Lin clan. He savored every drop. The alcohol gave him a warm sensation in his stomach. The wine tonight was quite strong. It was completely different from the alcohol Lin Feng had drunk before. He was used to receiving the finer wines on the top floor of the restaurant. At that moment, 3 people walked into the Whistle Wind restaurant. There were 2 females and 1 male. Everybody in the restaurant had their eyes on the 3 people who had entered. The young man didn't need to speak. He just continued to fan himself with his feathered fan. They had just emerged from an extremely elegant carriage and all had a feather fan in hand. They all looked extremely confident and self-assured. The 2 girls were both wearing green robes, one light green while the other had a tinge of blue within. Not only did they have a commanding presence, but they were also extremely beautiful. The face looked delicate and their bodies were also extremely alluring. The crowd was paying attention to one of the girls in particular. Even though it was raining, that girl didn't have a single drop of water on her body. She was wearing a set of green robes with a hint of blue. She looked as serene and as calm as the ocean. It looked like the color of her robes complemented each of her physical features. Every part of her body was fascinating to the eye. Her eyes were clear as water. She was extremely attractive. Seduction seemed to be something engraved in her soul. The beautiful girl wearing light green robes standing next to her had lost all her splendor by standing next to such a beautiful girl. "Nalan Hai, you go upstairs first. I'm staying here for a moment," said the other young girl. Her voice was pleasant to the ear. "All right," replied Nalan Hai, still holding her feather fan. Immediately after, she went to the first floor. Then, the young girl wearing the light green robes glanced at the room looking for a good place to sit. "Miss, it looks like there are no seats." The young girl wearing light green robes looked around the room but didn't find a place to sit. The restaurant was crowded more than usual. "Miss, wait for a moment, please." The young girl wearing light green robes had noticed there was a young man sitting alone at his table. She started to move towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng raised his head, looked at the young girl wearing light green robes and asked, "Is there something I can help with?" "Indeed," said the young girl while throwing 1 silver coin on Lin Feng's table and then said, "I'm giving you this silver coin in exchange for your table." Lin Feng was stupefied and then slightly smiled. He also took out a silver coin and put it on the table as well. "What is that supposed to mean?" asked the young girl while frowning. Lin Feng raised his head and gazed directly into the young girl's eyes and said, "I think you look unpleasant. Therefore, I am giving you this silver coin to go and find another table far out of my sight." "You dare," said the young girl while looking confused and angry. Right after, she said in a cold and detached tone, "How dare you? Do you even know who I am?" Lin Feng remained silent and shook his head. He continued to pour wine in his glass and drank it. "I don't give a damn who you are. Now run along," said Lin Feng unexpectedly in a very cold tone. When the young girl heard Lin Feng with his impolite speech and cold tone, she could not help but be angry. She suddenly released a strong chi from her body. Lin Feng had a stunned expression on his face. The young girl was younger than him and she had already broken through to the 8th chi layer. No wonder that she had such an arrogant attitude. "What? Are you scared now?" asked the young girl who had noticed Lin Feng's expression. She had a smile of victory on her face, like a child who had just won an argument. Lin Feng was stupefied again at her reaction but remained silent. "Lu Er, please don't cause trouble," said a soft and gentle voice. It was the beautiful and fascinating girl wearing the green robes with a hint of blue. She was gazing at the young girl in light green robes with disapproving eyes. "Lu Er is always like this. Please don't blame her," said the beautiful girl to Lin Feng while smiling. Her words were like a pleasant spring breeze. Right after, she moved towards Lin Feng's table and sat down with him. She looked very at ease. Lin Feng frowned. He hadn't heard any of them apologize for their actions. almost as if they did not have to explain themselves to him. Besides, the girl in the green and blue hadn't even asked Lin Feng if he agreed before she sat down. Do I look like one of your servants? In this world there are masters and there are servants. Today, I am the master of this table and I did not give a servant like you permission to sit, said Lin Feng in a sarcastic tone. The beautiful girl was speechless. Then she groaned in displeasure. Everywhere where she went, everybody obeyed and respected her. If she sat at the same table as someone else, that person should feel extremely honored. Most men had no chance to even meet her eyes, let alone be seated at the same table as her. On that day, she hadn't thought she would come across someone like Lin Feng who would ridicule her. Miss, we should teach this ignorant person a lesson, said the young girl wearing light green robes. She had become even more angry at Lin Feng's words. Forget it, Lu Er, said the beautiful girl while shaking her head. Then she stood up and said, since he doesn't welcome us, let's just find another table. It's just that some people lack tact. Next time we should pay more attention and avoid these people. While saying that, the beautiful girl had turned around and left. Miss Nalan, that guy is unable to recognize you and how great you are. Your family is one of great power. Don't lower yourself to his level. I have a lot of respect for you. If you wish, you can sit here, said people in the crowd while inviting the girl to sit with them. The beautiful young girl didn't refuse this time. She nodded and accepted, which made the person inviting her overjoyed at his luck. That guy is so lucky, why didn't I invite her first? Groaned people in the crowd watching the scene. They infinitely regretted they hadn't made the first move. What kind of guy is that? He really must not have eyes. Miss Nalan wants to sit with him, which is something that happens once in a lifetime, and he refuses. That was maybe the luckiest event of his life. He is a complete idiot. Lin Feng could hear all sorts of comments all around him. Lin Feng shook his head. Servility, arrogance, power and all the things related. People clung to rich and power people. Lin Feng only believed in mutual respect. If someone respected Lin Feng, then he'd respect them. The girl in green and blue robes and the girl in the light green robes hadn't respected Lin Feng from the beginning to the end. Should he have acted in a servile way even though they hadn't showed him any respect? He would never lower himself to living on his knees. Lin Feng had heard from the surrounding conversations the status that the girl wearing green and blue robes held. She was the only daughter of the head of the city, the beautiful and talented Nalan Feng. Contrary to what one might expect, Nalan Feng and Lin Qian actually are pretty similar. They consider everything and everyone as worms beneath them. They ignore everyone and just care about themselves. They are both very selfish individuals. Lin Feng thought while shaking his head. Concerning Nalan Feng, there were many rumors about her in which she sounded to be wonderful and perfect, but in reality she was the opposite. Miss Nalan Feng, now that you arrived, why not come upstairs for a chat? We might even invite you to join us, said a cold voice coming from the higher levels of the restaurant. The entire crowd was stunned. Who was audacious enough to talk to her like that? Who dared to be so rude? Haha, I made the young miss of the Lin clan wait for a long time. Well then, Nalan will come and join you, said Nalan Feng while laughing. She immediately went upstairs. Young miss of the Lin clan? That was Lin Qian of the Lin clan. No wonder she dared talk to Nalan Feng that way. I heard that Lin Qian has completely transformed. There is no comparison possible between past and present. She has an amazing talent and she has an excellent reputation within the Hao Yu sect. That's right, it must be Lin Qian. I would have never thought that the city of Yangzhou could have two amazingly beautiful young girls with such talent. The voice heard a moment ago was indeed Lin Qian's voice. She had the same arrogant voice as before. Lin Feng had immediately recognized it. Lin Feng learnt many things while listening to what people were saying in the restaurant. He also heard news of what was happening in the city. On that day, one of the most amazing junior cultivators in the restaurant was Nalan Feng, but that wasn't all. Lin Qian had also come as well as other younger disciples of the Gu clan, of the One clan. They were all sitting upstairs, completely unaware that Lin Feng was sat beneath them. This is the final sponsored chapter for today. This is the best I could do to not leave on a cliffhanger. This is the final sponsored chapter for today. This is the best I could do to not leave on a cliffhanger. Special thanks to Madazone and Anonymous for sponsoring this chapter. Much love, hugs and kisses, enjoy. EXO Linfeng stood up and moved towards a dining table surrounded by the group talking. Their expression immediately changed when they saw him approach. After all, Linfeng hadn't behaved in a friendly manner towards the girls who tried to join him. He had offended Na Lanfeng, who was idolized by everyone. "Is there a problem?" asked one of the guests in an unfriendly tone way while staring daggers at Linfeng. Linfeng took out 2 silver coins and threw them on the table. He smiled and said, "May I take a seat with you?" "You can. Of course you can." The expression of the people on the table immediately changed. They had quickly become friendly and cheerful to have Linfeng join them. In the Nine Clouds continent, the currencies consisted of precious stones alongside gold, silver and bronze coins. Extremely rich families had precious stones, but they still needed silver and gold coins for daily expenses. Considering that a cultivator had lots of expenses, nobody would refuse silver or gold coins that were easily available. They quickly made room and prepared a chair for Linfeng to sit and asked him, "Brother, what do you need help with?" It may sound a bit weird. Na Lanfeng and some other outstanding cultivators have gathered together. "What are they doing exactly?" asked Linfeng. "Brother, this is something everybody knows. The senior cultivators of the city are preparing for the annual meeting in Yangzhou City." Na Lanfeng invited a few people to come so that she could pass on some information to the most outstanding young clan members and explain what her clan wishes to gain from the tournament. Of course, Na Lanfeng has other things in mind. That person stopped talking in order to keep Linfeng in suspense. As everybody knows, every year, the clan in control of Yangzhou City organizes a tournament to which a myriad of young cultivators participate and engage in battles. This year is no exception. Na Lanfeng is a representative figure in the clan of the city master. She invited all these outstanding disciples to explain them a few things but also to get information on her enemies. Linfeng laughed at the information. The Yangzhou City tournament was obviously no secret. He had come back to Yangzhou City precisely because the tournament was about to take place. This is why he hadn't returned to the Yunhai sect and decided to stay longer in Yangzhou City. "I heard that the meeting was going to be different from the past ones. I heard that they were going to invite outstanding disciples from clans which are not established in Yangzhou City. I don't know if it's true or if it is just a rumor." Linfeng continued to ask. "That's right. There is indeed such a thing. Qiulan is very famous in Yangzhou City. The master of the city wanted her to gather all these people for that reason. All of the outstanding disciples who want to join the Yangzhou City tournament will need to meet with Qiulan." "I understand. Thank you so much for all of the information. It has helped me greatly," said Linfeng politely. He had already learned everything he wanted to know. Linfeng hurried to finish his alcohol and his pickles. The atmosphere of the restaurant had become too noisy for him and was giving him a headache. "Na Lanfeng, is that the boy over there, who surprisingly dared to talk to you in a disrespectful way? We should go and cripple him," said a voice in an evil tone which suddenly made everyone in the restaurant go silent. Right after that, everybody saw people standing on the stairs leading to the first floor. 2 silhouettes were slowly moving down. It was the girl wearing light green robes who had just accompanied Na Lanfeng as well as Na Lanhai who had just went upstairs. "That young boy is out of luck." The crowd couldn't help but look at Linfeng. They all felt sorry for the fate which was about to befall Linfeng. That guy acted too recklessly. He caused unwanted trouble. I hope he can fix his mistakes. You must be careful who you offend as the world is vast, and there are many hidden dragons that you cannot offend. Everybody in the restaurant was whispering while looking at Linfeng. These were going to be his last moments for having offended Na Lanfeng. Asking for forgiveness wouldn't give him any mercy. However, Linfeng hadn't noticed everybody's reaction. He had a headache and was too tired to think. He had drunk alcohol and couldn't see other people's faces clearly. He was actually quite drunk. Arg! He should die for his insults. Na Lanhai was grinning and his expression looked ice cold. He was slowly walking towards Linfeng. "You have too much self-confidence, daring to act so indifferently," said Na Lanhai, who had arrived next to Linfeng while looking down at him. "You offended Na Lanfeng, the princess. Prepare to bear the consequences. Why are you wasting time with words? Just cripple his cultivation immediately," said the young girl in light green robes impatiently. All right, replied Na Lan Hai, moving his fan. That fan made him look smart and elegant, but it was also as sharp as a blade. Lin Feng finally sobered up slightly on seeing this. He evilly glanced at Na Lan Hai. His cold expression made Na Lan Hai shiver. It was Lin Feng, indeed it was him. The force abruptly vanished. Na Lan Hai hadn't expected that the one who had offended Na Lan Feng would be the person at the focus of all the rumors. Lin Feng. Na Lan Hai obviously knew all these rumors were not true. Not so long before, he had witnessed Lin Feng's strength with his own eyes in the Whistle Wind restaurant. Not only was he strong, but he was also ruthless and showed no mercy to those who offended him, not caring about their background. Maybe strong and ruthless were not the right words, it was more like he was actually a monster in human form. He wasn't strong or ruthless, it was just his nature to overpower and kill weaker animals. Na Lan Hai had also heard that Lin Feng's father had been expelled from the Lin clan. However, he hadn't heard that it was because Lin Ba Dao was extremely strong, but because it had required the honorable elder to stop him from exterminating the clan. He had also heard that Lin Feng made a shocking display of power, and it had required an elder and 2 disciples of the Ling Qi layer to stop him. Get lost, said Lin Feng in an ice-cold tone which sent shivers down Na Lan Hai's spine. Lin Feng was exactly as he had imagined. He was terrifying. Lin Feng's words cut him like a knife, and the thought of angering Lin Feng had made Na Lan Hai take a step back. Na Lan Hai, are you not attacking yet? Said the young girl wearing light green robes, seeing that Na Lan Hai hadn't crippled Lin Feng's cultivation yet and had instead stepped back. She couldn't help but be furious at the events. Not only did it seem that Na Lan Hai hadn't heard what she was saying, but he had also turned around and said, "Let's leave quickly." While saying these words, he immediately started to leave. Is it Na Lan Feng who asked you to come? Asked Lin Feng in a cold and detached tone which made Na Lan Hai slow down in his retreat. He didn't reply. He continued to walk and pulled the young girl wearing light green robes as a sign that he wanted her to leave as well. Lin Feng smiled inside. It was very clear to Lin Feng at that moment what had happened. Those people who thought so highly of themselves, once finding out his identity, they didn't dare attack. Even if they still looked dominant, were they still talking with the same arrogant tone as before? Lin Feng hurried to drain his cup in one gulp and stood up. He then put on his black rain cape and a straw hat, then immediately left. The entire crowd had only looked at his figure as he confidently walked out unharmed. The crowd in the Whistle Wind restaurant looked at that strange young man. They had so many questions they wanted to ask him. Who is that young man who made the arrogant Na Lan Hai retreat and look scared? Asked people in the crowd. They had thought Lin Feng would die. They hadn't expected that his opponent would cower upon the sight of him. Na Lan Hai's expression when looking at Lin Feng had obviously been one of complete terror. His actions showed that he did not dare provoke that young boy. Na Lan Hai, what was that? Asked the girl in light green robes while furiously shaking Na Lan Hai's hand off of her. That was Lin Feng, replied Na Lan Hai. The piece of trash of the Lin clan? Lu Er, what piece of trash of the Lin clan? Do you believe all these lies? Do you really believe he was expelled from the Lin clan for being weak? According to what we know from our clan reports, Lin Feng made Lin Wu crawl down on the ground like a worm. He had almost killed Lin Hong, who has broken through to the Ling Qi layer. Lin Qian interrupted the fight, and with both their powers they could not stop Lin Feng's attack. If it wasn't for an elder who interrupted the fight, Lin Hong would have already taken his last breath. What? Are you saying that he was able to defeat Lin Hong, who has broken through to the Ling Qi layer? How is that even possible? You must be mistaken, said the young girl. Everything I'm telling you is absolutely true. If you don't believe me, wait a moment, we can ask the young Mississippi, said Na Lan Hai with a wry smile on his face. Before seeing Lin Feng at the Whistle Wind restaurant the last time, he would have also thought that those were all fake rumors about Lin Feng, that he was only a piece of trash, the disgrace and shame of the Lin clan. He would have thought the rumors were spread by the other clans to cause the Lin clan to lose face. However, he had eventually found out that those rumors were voluntarily spread by some Lin clan members who had witnessed the events. It was clear that Lin Ba Dao had spread counter-rumors to achieve his own goals. Lin Hai had also been wrong about his son. He did not know that Lin Feng wasn't the same weak-willed and cowardly person that he was before. Lin Feng walked out of the Whistle Wind restaurant and jumped onto Qian Li Shui. He didn't travel very far from the restaurant. He went to an inn which was near the Whistle Wind restaurant. He went to an inn because he couldn't go back to the Lin clan and had nowhere else he could stay. There was no other place to stay in Yangzhou City other than an inn. He immediately selected one of the best rooms, spacious and quiet, so that nobody would disturb him. He sat down and immediately started to meditate. He could feel a hunger within his body after suffering that near-fatal wound. It was as if his body was yearning for more power and the strength to rule over all. He only needed more power, and then no one could treat him the way they had treated him and his father. With their own strength, Lin Feng and Lin Hai would make their own reputation and crush those who had belittled them in the past. One day, Lin Feng would make the Lin clan members regret the treatment they had given him and his father at the annual meeting. Lin Feng would make the Lin clan regret from the bottom of their hearts. He would make them wish they could change their actions. With his own strength he would have his revenge, and that day was not that far in the future. In the room, Lin Feng was sitting on his bed while meditating peacefully. Lin Feng had released his dark spirit and was focused on absorbing the qi which he gathered around himself. His sense of hearing when in this state was far above ordinary cultivators. If he wanted to, then he could even hear what was being said back in the restaurant. This was because of his concentration and his dark spirit, which was amplifying all of his senses. The qi of heaven and earth was uninterruptedly penetrating into Lin Feng's body. A faintly discernible white light had appeared. The qi felt like a strong wind which could turn into a typhoon at any point. It was his qi which was growing strong to the peak of the 9th qi layer. He was waiting to overcome the bottleneck and have a surge of power once again rush into him, and then Lin Feng could break through to the Ling qi layer. He would be able to kill those who opposed him much easier than before with his skills and technique. He could even kill a 9th qi layer disciple without them even noticing anything. At that moment, some shadows outside were approaching the inn. It was clear that they were headed directly towards the inn. The group immediately entered into the inn unnoticed, using an incredible agility technique, which made them look like ghosts walking through the crowd. They were all carrying a bow which was made from ox horns. The strength of these bows was extraordinary. Cultivators of the qi layer would gain a huge amount of power from using these ox horn bows. He's in room number 2. It's best not to disturb him. That would be too troublesome. Let's handle this as quietly as possible, said one of the shadows who was standing outside of the group. The shadow was holding a feathered fan in their hand. They all quickly moved towards room number 2. No one within the inn had even noticed their presence. A short instant after, about 10 shadows had appeared in front of the door to room number 2. They were extremely agile and graceful. Almost no sound could be heard from their movements. Almost nobody could hear them. The only person who was aware of them was Lin Feng, who had noticed them before they had even arrived at the inn. The strength of the shadows varied from person to person, and it was impossible to tell their strengths from a glance. Shish shish shish. The shadows had grabbed their bows off of their backs. They then, with as little sound as possible, knocked an arrow into the bow and drew the bowstring back. Fire! Visising, visising, visising. The sounds of the arrows piercing through would fill the air within the inn, causing many people to suddenly notice the sound. These arrows were so powerful that they broke the wooden door open completely, and within the room there was a thump, followed by a rolling noise. "Let's go!" shouted one of them, taking the lead to charge into the room and check the results of what had just happened. When they entered the room, however, there was not a soul in sight. The wooden bed of extremely high quality had been damaged by the arrows. In the bed was a human-shaped figure which was made from various materials, but there was nobody there. 2 of the shadows took the initiative to move farther into the room while remaining vigilant at all times. Suddenly, a whistling sound of a sword cutting through the air could be heard, followed by a terrifying thunderous roar. All that could be seen within the darkness was a set of ruthless and bloodthirsty eyes staring towards the shadows. Cold silver light flashed through the air. It was a sword. Thunderous roars echoed within the air. 2 horrifying screams could be heard from inside the room. The 2 shadows which had initially moved deeper into the room had come back into vision. This time they were corpses rolling along the ground back towards the group. At the moment when these people entered into the inn, Lin Feng already knew that they were here. He originally paid them little attention and could not care for what their business was. He was in a trance-like state in the middle of his practice. When he heard them arrive in front of his room, he had quickly regained his senses and understood the situation. It seemed like they were coming to kill him. Lin Feng had been hiding inside the room, away from the door as to not be hit by arrows. He had been leaning against the wall. He had chosen the wall, which was a dead angle, so there was no chance of using a bow to strike him there. It was also impossible for the others to see him from outside. That was also very convenient, as he could ambush the enemy from within the darkness. When Lin Feng had seen the power and strength of the arrow which had penetrated into the room, Lin Feng had considered himself very lucky to have noticed them first. If Lin Feng hadn't hidden within that dead angle, he would have been immediately shot dead by the arrows. But while considering his good luck, Lin Feng's heart was also filled with killing intent. His body was overflowing with a murderous aura which made him seem like an ancient mythical beast. That's why he had immediately killed 2 people. He could not suppress the urge to kill. It was almost as if there was a demon waiting in the shadows. "Come, my sword has not tasted enough blood yet," said a bloodthirsty voice from within the darkness. Lin Feng gripped his sword tightly again, and suddenly his figure had completely vanished. 2 screams were heard from outside the room. Lin Feng had used his moonlight feather agility to move outside and kill 2 of the assassins who felt safe outside. As the other assassins outside of the room looked at what had just happened with horrified expressions, Lin Feng used the opportunity to jump out of the window. "Chase after him," shouted one of the assassins, taking the lead while clearly angry at the situation. Like wild beasts, they jumped out of the window, each having a bloodthirsty look on their face. It was a rainy night and it was unnaturally dark as the clouds blocked even the moonlight. If cultivators didn't have such amazing sight, they would hardly be able to see the road, especially when running at full speed. However, it didn't influence Lin Feng at all. Thanks to his dark spirit, he had amazing senses which were above others at his level. His 5 senses were extremely sharp and acute. He was able to see the road as clearly as he did during the day. The people following him were growing closer and closer with each second. The noise of their feet stamping on the wet ground had filled the air. The group was extremely large for just 1 person. Whoosh, the arrow flew past Lin Feng with a buzzing sound. Not far from his ear, the air itself was torn apart by the force created from the arrow. The one who just shot that arrow has reached the 9th chi layer. His power is comparable to that of Lu Fei. They are all far from being weak. Lin Feng thought while a shiver ran down his spine. Lu Fei was at the 9th chi layer and she was extremely strong. Besides, she also had an extremely strong arrow spirit. Mentioning how strong her arrows were was pointless. It was obvious to anyone who had experienced them. On top of that, those following Lin Feng had a power comparable to that of Lu Fei. They were powerful and very well trained. Lin Feng would have never thought that some people would come to kill him in the middle of the night. Why would they want to take his life? Whoosh whoosh, another 2 arrows flew past his head. He was less and less convinced that he would be able to keep avoiding the arrows if this continued. Not only were these people extremely strong, but it also seemed that they had received intensive archery training. Their shooting accuracy was extremely high. If there was one flaw in his footwork, if he gave them one opportunity, a single arrow could kill Lin Feng. It won't work this way. If I continue like this, I'll end up exhausted without any strength left and they will be able to finish me easily, thought Lin Feng while avoiding another arrow. He was feeling hopeless. Actually, all these people seemed to be at the 9th chi layer. Besides, they could use their bows to the point of perfection and they were working with each other in perfect harmony. It even seemed like they were moving in formation. Even if Lin Feng is better at using agility techniques than them, it seems impossible for him to break away from that group of assassins. Lin Feng's feet were splashing in the wet mud and his robes had become covered in a layer of mud. It was still raining heavily like before. Lin Feng's robes were completely soaked. Lin Feng dodged quickly to the side to avoid another arrow. He then suddenly stopped and then turned around in the blink of an eye, revealing his messy appearance. Moonlight feather agility. Die. In a flash, not only did Lin Feng stop running away, but he also used his agility technique to go back in the direction of his pursuers. Lin Feng skillfully wielded his sword which flashed in the darkness. Roaring thunder could be heard vibrating through the atmosphere and merging with the heavy rain in perfect harmony. Blood had started to flow onto the ground. The rainwater on the ground was turning red with blood. The shadows that were running towards Lin Feng had been sliced through without consideration. 5 of the assassins had been beheaded by Lin Feng in one smooth strike. The remaining assassins quickly retreated 10 meters. Their careful eyes were staring at Lin Feng. They were still very vigilant. They were all young, and since the beginning of the battle, Lin Feng had already killed a large number of them. Lin Feng watched the group's movements through the raindrops. One of those people was wearing a black rain cape and was holding a folding fan in his hand. Hi, Lin Feng looked at him with an ice-cold glare. That folding fan, that was a fan he remembered, Na Lan Hai's fan. He glanced at all of them, smiled coldly and said, "So many outstanding practitioners. Only a few clans have such outstanding people in Yangzhou City, but considering how many have come for me, is there really anyone outstanding within such a clan?" Na Lan Hai was calmly standing in the middle of the group when he heard these words. He couldn't help but roar furiously. "They all say that Lin Hai, son of the Lin clan, is a piece of trash. The Lin Feng that I know is not a piece of trash. He is a real genius, able to adapt to all sorts of situations. He is also very smart and resourceful. Too bad that. What?" said Lin Feng. "Too bad that you are a true genius, but nobody will ever know," Na Lan Hai said with an evil grin. "Even if you're a genius, it will be of no use once you're dead. With your death, the smudge on Na Lan Feng's reputation will be gone. So Na Lan Feng hates me because of a minor incident, because I pointed out her mistakes? So she has sent the mighty troops of Yangzhou City to chase and kill me in secret?" Lin Feng's tone of voice was clearly mocking them. These people were all well trained. They were not ordinary cultivators. When Lin Feng looked at them carefully again, he clearly understood that they were the troops of Yangzhou City. There was one thing that Lin Feng didn't understand though. Na Lan Feng had been the first one to disrespect and disregard Lin Feng. That is why he had made her lose face. However, was that insult worth her mobilizing the city troops to kill him? It seemed like Lin Feng hadn't anticipated that Na Lan Feng would use her status and power to have him disposed of in secret. "Do you know how honorable and respectable Princess Na Lan is? She holds an extremely high status. Do you think that you have the right to humiliate her? Even if you die, it will not be enough of a punishment for having disrespected Princess Na Lan." Na Lan Hai said in a loud voice with an indifferent tone, as if everything he had said was perfectly logical. "Princess Na Lan? Honorable and respectable?" Lin Feng grinned. Even if she was the Yangzhou City head's daughter, it also didn't give her the right to be that arrogant and conceited. Lin Feng wouldn't have thought that Na Lan Feng would stoop so low as to use her father's power to settle a small and petty grudge. She saw Lin Feng as nothing but an ant. Her personality was just as rotten as Lin Qian. "You want to kill me? Shall we get started?" Lin Feng's dark spirit appeared behind his back. In the middle of that spirit, the spirit had no qi and made no sound. Many had not even noticed that he had released his spirit. Lin Feng had to pay attention to each and every attack, as each one would be lethal. A small mistake would cost him his life. Lin Feng's dark spirit seemed to look around as if it had its own set of eyes. Lin Feng could sense everything that was surrounding him, including the ground beneath his feet. Nothing could escape from Lin Feng's senses at that moment. He could sense even the slightest of movements within the air. Whoosh, an arrow flew past Lin Feng's ear. So close it had almost hit. Lin Feng wasn't really surprised and had dodged it with ease, which made the one who shot the arrow look slightly shocked. In the darkness of the night, his eyes were calm and murderous. He looked like a fierce beast gazing at its prey.